So, but you remember about Balka, and you remember the city and the cast of characters. And you
Yeah.
remember all that?
Yes.
And we're in
And
the
you remember,
party.
yeah, the city was ruled by a brother and sister team.
Right.
Uloba was the nominal leader, but her brother, whose name is Durazdan, was her sort of enforcer, her muscle, if you will. Where did we break off? I believe it was
We were
a
in the
banquet.
We were literally at the
Yeah,
end.
you were literally in the party. So
Just trying to have a good time.
yeah. What we're going to do then is we're going to pick it up. We're going to pick it up the morning after the banquet.
Oh, I wasn't actually at the party.
Do you?
Yeah. I imagine, and you guys can tell me what your characters would do, or what your characters did. I would imagine that you slept in your carriage.
Yeah.
Because wherever you go, your accommodations are with you.
Mhm.
If that's the case.
So would
And I
you
doubt
go
they'd
back
have
to
any
the
time.
carriage?
You would eventually.
Tell me where your characters slept
Um,
after the banquet.
I think Demetri she would sleep in the carriage because I imagine no other place would be efficiently equipped for her tiny stature. So
Okay.
she's familiar with the
I would
carriage.
imagine Major would have like a shelf. They would have built her like a little shelf
Yeah.
up on a wall.
A little,
That's adorable.
little, like step stool up to it.
Yeah, I was gonna say, what other options would there have been?
Wait,
The
that's it. You
street,
tell me.
the gutter.
What do your characters do overnight?
brothel.
The banquet comes to a close, and everybody retires in the wee hours of the morning. You do notice that there's some activity been going on overnight, but you're not sure what it is. And but tell me what your sleeping arrangements are.
Well, Vala probably found herself a room
Okay.
somewhere because I don't think she'd be going back to share your carriage with you.
Yeah.
Not that tight.
Not on the first night,
first
anyway.
night.
You know, like buy her a drink
I was
first.
gonna say.
So if you remember the Solyanka guest house, which is that large building by the Cossack camp, they have
That
a number of rooms, and so Vala rents a room.
Yeah.
From, Taurus was the proprietor of the Solyanka guest house. He's got a nice room on the second floor, but that costs you 8 gold pieces overnight.
Okay,
Make
that's
a
fine.
note. Anyone have any other sort of deviation from the norm?
Probably not.
You would have made your way back at some point.
Yeah, Anders would probably come up, probably relatively late.
To the carriage.
To the carriage, yeah.
Just wandering around.
You've been wandering around.
Okay, give me a perception check, and we'll see whether you noticed anything.
All of us?
No, just Anders, because he was walking around.
Because, yeah, he doesn't like parties. He has his own reason for that. That would have been a 19.
19. Yeah, there was clearly some activity overnight. You're in the darkness. You're not able to put any imagery to it, but you noticed that there were guards scurrying around, and there were sort of city officials at one point on the streets. But you don't have any awareness of what it actually was.
Okay.
Any other sort of overnight activities you want to tell me about?
Vala prays before bed.
Okay. To her deity.
Yes, to
Can I be
prayer.
really intrusive and ask what she was praying about or for?
I think at this point it would just be more of her usual prayers, kind of going through the events of the day. It's almost her way of journaling, where she processes all that happened,
And her
it's a
prayers.
conversation to her with her goddess.
And they were directed to her matron.
Yes.
Yes. Okay. Can you roll a percentile?
A percentile?
Ooh.
All right, I never do this. Is that this one?
D10 and the one
D10
with all
plus
the...
that one.
Zero.
So you get a regular
Okay.
D10. With, it looks like D8. Yeah, you got it.
I think that's a 65.
65. Yeah. So you don't know whether your prayers are received. It's a common experience for you to open a dialogue and not know whether you're being heard. But that's what was ever the condition of mortal man and woman.
There's only one other thing I would say Anders would have done is, and why he probably only knows so much, is he would have probably done several
I
investigations.
believe Anders did that
Yeah.
at the end of last section.
Yeah, he was about to do that because he was. I remember he got the divine sense. He got readings from here, here, and here.
Right.
So, being that determine what the significance of that was.
Right. So
And
I'm
he
going to.
figures this is going to be everyone's focus the next day. He was going there because everyone was
Right.
going there, so he's like,
So-
I'm not going there.
I'm going to fold that into your 19
Okay,
perception check
sure.
earlier, and you notice there is a huge stronghold wall, probably 50 feet high. It's in some cases carved out of the natural cliff face, but in some cases it's bricked. You notice there was a large arched doorway that appeared to have been barricaded with huge, huge slabs of stone. And at one point in your wanderings, you noticed a somewhat congenial sort of a beggar, and you gave him a couple of silver pieces, and you inquired about it, and he looked at you with incredulous wonderment that you didn't know what that was, and said, "Have you never heard of the sealed stronghold?" And that's what you managed to glean about that.
Okay, yeah, because language barrier.
Actually, I think, kind of thinking more on this, Madry definitely would have, like I said, went back to the carriage, because she just had a nice meal and she had some drinks, so she's ready to go to bed in her normal hobbit fashion. But finds that she absolutely cannot sleep because of what happened in the tower,
Right.
and she's still kind of now pondering and processing that.
Okay.
I don't know I don't think she would think to try and pray or speak to a higher power. I think
Right.
just letting you know that she's pondering
She's
that.
open to it.
Yeah.
That's the change in her character.
Yes.
Yeah. At one point in your sort of circulation of the town back to the carriage, you got the distinct impression that you were being watched, but you do not know.
God damn it!
You
I
do not
swear to
know
God,
why.
if you break into my carriage.
You do not know why.
He's not that stupid.
I know.
You do
Yeah,
not
I'll
know
fuck
why.
you up.
Carriage full of highly armed,
Yeah, right.
7th level
Friends.
character.
7th level character.
who all care about each other.
How about Isha and Majway?
Go ahead.
I got a little thrown off because I couldn't find this to save my life, and so now I didn't hear what you were saying at the beginning.
Well, I'm just asking if any events happened after the banquet but before morning.
Right. I'm trying to remember exactly what happened in the tower with the elements and having trouble because I'm remembering two different versions. Well, I'm
It was
remembering
sort of Madry's experience.
more
Yeah.
recent.
Do you
No,
wanna-
I don't
Yeah.
think any of the rest of us went into the tower for
Okay.
that. It was
No,
just it was during
Madry's
the
like
rogue one that we all
religious
went.
awakening.
Yes.
and, then
Solo.
and then the rogues. Well, if you climb one tower, you get to the other one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I thought Montoy went in too.
I think she did.
Yes, and now I can't remember
I
what
think she
happened.
would. Well, as I
I remember she
recall,
went
and I think
up.
Madry
think she went up
mentioned
all
to
the way to
everybody
the
at the
top.
banquet what the tower was.
Right.
Yes.
4 levels. There was a pool of
Yes,
water at
I
the
remember
first
all that.
level. There was cords of wood at the second level. There was bellows at the 3rd level, and there was a burning brazier at the 4th level. This is the spire of the blessed elements, as the locals call it. And
Right.
there were carved images of the younger gods, sort of in some cases quite indiscriminate. One of these sort of weirdly syncretic, kind of ecumenical spaces. And Madry sort of came face to face again with this idea of human devotion and worship that she'd been somewhat skeptical towards. If there was nothing else, I'll simply tell you that overnight,
Oh, here it is. I found my note.
it's mostly a peaceful night, but come morning, you notice there is a lot of activity in the city, and you hear footsteps, you hear boots on the cobblestones, you hear wagons, you hear chatter. You're not all that far from the outdoor market, so you hear talk in the alleyways, different languages, and there's sort of a level of activity going on. You hear a pair of guards passing, saying that the gates have been ordered closed because of some security concern. So the combat trials on the jousting ground will not actually occur today. And specifically, you hear about orders are being issued that the local tribe, the Orcs, which have traditionally been invited to the games,
Right.
will not be welcomed in today. And all of this is supposedly the orders of Uloba. And in the middle of this, when I don't know if you respond immediately in terms of getting up or stirring
I think
in the morning, you would. would.
Yeah, Major would.
Within minutes of sort of stirring to life, you then see the level of activity picks up, and you hear what you think are distant cries, emotional bewails, mourning cries, rending of garments. You hear sort of clerics being summoned. You hear city officials and guards sort of running through the streets, and you hear hoofbeats galloping through the city.
I'd go in the direction of all of it.
Yeah, Major's.
I think I would. If I'm the first awake, I'd wake everybody else
Yeah.
up and let's go.
Yeah.
Wallace
So-
pretty much wakes up with the sun, I think.
And Vala hears this as well,
Yeah.
and sort of coming to the window or the balcony, whichever whatever kind of room she felt fit for.
She loves a good balcony,
Loves a good
so she can go and look rigorously into the
Well, we can
balconies
say-
of Balka.
We can say there's 2 balconies there, so you can have either one of those
Jeez.
rooms. She
so
comes
nice
and
to
she
But
sees
soft.
this as well.
Yeah, but
And there's a gathering crowd at the city center, which is to say at that fountain that you passed.
Okay.
And you can't see what's going on, but there's clearly a lot of activity going on.
Where are our minis?
That's
Over
Your
here.
minis are
That's
over
all
by
about.
the carriage.
the carriage.
You wanted just the whole group.
I figure we're all going. to
Yeah,
the
I'm
tower.
absolutely headed towards what's going on.
Yeah.
Yeah, Vala's coming down. Better go find out what's happening.
So you begin sort of threading your way through the streets, and you notice that people are actually closing their in the marketplace. They're closing their stalls. They're sort of locking down. Everybody is galvanized by some sort of event that's causing a lot of attention. You notice that some of the Kozaki nomads that have come in from the games, as well as some of the inhabitants that work for the brother and sister that run the town, are gathering around. And by the time you get to the fountain area, there's a pretty substantial crowd sort of building there. Jen, maybe you can take some of those folks
Yep.
out of the hall and put them. But above all, put them towards the fountain center.
Fountain center.
But above all, what shocks you and distracts your attention is the pile of corpses that is in the middle of
Wow.
the city
I'm
square.
pretty sure we didn't do that in the rogue campaign.
And people are staring.
Yeah, we didn't scatter our corpses.
Oh, I don't need that mummy. That mummy's not there.
I was about to say, little mommy.
Yeah.
Well, I'm gonna do it.
Better
That's
come
sense
on.
roll.
And you hear, as you
It's like the
approach, you
start of
hear
an episode of Bones.
wailing, and you hear moaning, and you hear people on their knees, and older women rending their hair, and clerics are trying to perform rites. But above all, there's a look of shock and pale and ashen faces staring at this, and you notice that Yulova and Dresdan, her brother, are kind of standing there with amazement, and tears are streaming down her cheeks. And there's mothers and sisters and
How
brothers.
dead are the corpses?
Right.
The corpses are fresh within hours. You can tell this from your combat.
And it's this
experience.
many.
More than that. I don't have enough.
Okay.
Townsfolk overnight have passed away.
Are there any marks of wounds or
Yeah.
disease or?
So give me a perception check.
Yeah.
If Kajal is going to
Yeah,
roll
I will
honesty.
also
Yeah, I think we're all.
all kind of trying to assess what's
Yeah.
happening.
Alright, I'm gonna do the more divine perception.
Okay.
Divine sense, and I rolled a unnatural 20 for that.
Nice.
A natural point?
Unnatural.
Unnatural point. So what you actually notice is these corpses look like probably 4 to 5 hours old. But the amazing thing you notice is you see mothers going amongst the corpses, older women, younger women, in some cases children. You hear children saying, "My mommy didn't come, my dad didn't come home, my father didn't come home, my mother didn't come home." You see older women saying, "My son didn't come home. Where's my son? Is this my son?" And they're holding corpses and they're looking at them and they're studying them. In some cases for a minute or two.
So are they disfigured then?
No,
They
the
just
corpses are not disfigured, but the people are not recognized.
weird.
And you can see that Yulova, for instance, walks forward and picks up the head of a sort of beautiful young man who's passed away and says, "Is this Petrov?" I cannot tell. And drops it.
Question: do they still have mouths?
What's this? Yes, they do. Yes, they do.
We can find out what happened.
Yes.
I'm gonna. You should
You're
just gonna
just gonna do it?
diplomatically
So, but
go up to Yulova,
Right.
Just do that.
Right.
And suggest there is I know a spell to ask the dead, so we might glean what happened to them.
She looks at you and says, I have heard of the necromancy. Have you believed in us? I'm loath to see this strange sorcery performed in front of others.
Oh, I would never do it in public. It's not a spectacle.
She says, you and your friends are welcome in this town, and as you can see, strange events will have happened overnight. Why don't you take one of the bodies, preferably one that is not being contemplated quite so closely, take him to my hall and perform this strange ritual of yours.
Thank you.
I do use divine sense. What do I get? Okay.
So you get that this is definitely corrupt magic of some kind. And this also is very unnerving to see this kind of mass death that has happened overnight. But as you sit there, literally minute to minute, you see that the mourning and the grief of the crowd is reaching a fever pitch towards hysteria, as people cannot find people that they know are probably in here and dead. And also in some cases they find a body and they say, this is him, but I don't remember his name. And in some cases you see someone saying, this is my son,
Oh.
Tetri, but I do not remember what he did yesterday. In fact, I do not remember how old he was. You notice that there's this derangement setting
Very,
in.
very strange going on here.
Um,
Vala would like
I-
to offer to help you with that spell
Please.
and carry the corpse for you if necessary.
Do you? We might also need an interpreter in case they don't speak the common tongue, or we might try to find one that has
So
distinguishing.
when Yulova sees Isha and Vala talking, and you got the impression at the banquet, Vala, that Yulova had somehow become aware of your presence because of your deeds at the trials, and was impressed. And she comes over and begins telling some of her retainers to lift the body that you've chosen.
Okay.
And it's carried back to the hall, and she actually goes with you.
I rolled a 21 for perception. I think Major would be like trying to see how these bodies got here, like if there was any signs of them being dragged or
Right.
like that kind of thing.
Right. So you don't see any signs of any disturbance, and normally you'd expect to see trails. There's enough sort of natural growth and stone around that you would think if this amount of cargo, there would be that. And also, you're canny enough as a ranger that you check the boot heels for scuff marks to see if they've been dragged, and you don't see any of that kind of stuff. You don't see anything. This has all the hallmarks of fell magic.
So, knowing that, Anders is going to hit one of the 3 points of Elder Magic from earlier. So he's going to check the sealed dungeon first. He's just going to wade through the bodies politely, not try to disturb anyone in their studies.
So as you're going up that alleyway, you pass 2 guardsmen who are sort of walking, and they're actually they're doing the quick walk, the butt shaking quick walk, and they're saying, we better tell you, Loba, this is important news. This is important, a report from the sergeant. And they're sort of running quickly. And when you actually look over your shoulder, and when they get to the square, they see that Yulova has gone with Isha and Vala to the hall. They run up to her brother Dresden, and they explain that one of the sergeants from the guards is missing. And on top of that, another sergeant is reporting that there was some kind of strange rumbling in the square overnight. And sort of rubble was found around the blessed spire of the elements, but that they cleaned it up.
So he's going to turn around and go to there.
Well,
All right.
I think I would probably see that and kill him.
Yeah, so I guess
Cajols
Cajal
with Anders.
Yeah, which is nice. 'Cause, someone's.
also witness.
Hey, what's Manjway doing at this point?
So we'll check that out after. Which is good. He's actually happy.
He's happy with the dwarfs.
Oh.
First
I
off, this is
honestly
probably
don't
the
know.
only person who actually talks to him outside of maybe the occasional
I
Isha,
imagine she was
Snide.
looking at the bodies as
Doing.
well.
She's nicer
Right.
to him now.
They're almost over him killing
And-
Morgan.
It's just nonverbal, usually.
He's also,
I think Majory
the
was
second you heard about necromancy, you probably don't see him
Pull
probably
her
walked away from you. quite
aside and kind
quickly. He
of
had his issues with that.
just kind of asked like,
Mister,
Ever
I got
seen
your
anything
soul
like
in my
this?
sword.
Right.
That's a problem with
And-
necromancy.
you know,
Um,
I would share my information about like not
Alright, fair.
seeing any signs of being dragged or transported here.
He's seen one
So
tonight,
I'll
he was
roll
live
for,
before, so figured him out.
Hold on, I've got to get a die.
So while Yulova and
Can I
Isha
roll
and
for-
Vala are sort of carrying this body to the hall, Vala, you notice that Yulova is sort of staying very close to you, and you notice this and find it unexpected.
Can I roll for Arcana?
Sure.
11.
11. Yeah, you can't notice any signs that triggers your knowledge of Arcana in any way.
Okay.
This is a mystery, and outside you can sort of see that the townsfolk are completely hysterical about this. In many you're seeing mothers holding children and literally trying to remember. I think he was born in the spring. No, it was not the spring. When was he born? Was he born?
That's horrible.
Wow.
So freaky.
That's terrifying.
Ugh.
That's.
Hannah's pretty much put together.
Is there a spell for gaslighting?
Please
that?
stop.
Is there
I said, is there a spell for gaslighting?
can I roll for mind meld?
What's this?
Can I roll for mind meld?
I'm not sure what rule you're referring to.
Star Trek.
It's a Star Trek
I know
joke.
it's a Star Trek reference, but I don't know what you're actually asking me.
It's a joke. That's what I wish I could do because
To figure
there's
it out.
something.
Is there any guards
wrong.
by the tower?
No.
Okay, so we actually have free reign. Okay, good.
So are you over by the tower?
Oh yeah, he would walk over to the tower.
So give me a perception check.
Right.
Over there.
Okay, I'm gonna I got it at 20, but it went to the river, so I'm gonna re-roll.
It's
the
11.
honorable.
Okay.
Okay, dice don't lie. I still got these.
I know perception.
17.
You notice that there's a little bit of rubble around the base of the tower, and you notice that there's a space between the cobblestones of the street and the wall of the tower that looks a little bit too wide.
Mountain dwarf. Can I
Sure.
investigate that?
Stonecraft,
Gonna lick
I
Yes.
believe you were
Gonna-
referring to.
Gonna
Yes.
feel it.
Yes.
Holy crap! I am rusty. 10.
10. Yeah, what you notice is it was strangely built, or there was some sort of tectonic activity. But the tower, there's not a good seal between the stones
I
of the
don't
street.
believe an earthquake caused all these deaths, but there was some sort of seismic action.
Kajol's vocabulary has.
Yes.
He's been reading now that he knows how.
I
I've
know.
been reading for like a straight year.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I know. It's
In the
good.
in the hall, Yulova
So
basically guides one of her retainers who's holding this body, and it's a young man of about 17 years old, and she sort of sweeps her hand over one of the tables and knocks all the flagons and goblets and plates off the table, and they make room for this body and they lay it up. The body is just now, and Isha knows this as a cleric. The body is just now getting rigor because it's the cold of the day.
Well, we
That's
gotta
it.
do this fast.
I have
Well, it's the one
like
with the cape.
crazy cape
Her
going
That's
on.
cape.
That's
No capes but hers.
I'm gonna.
No capes for
So
her.
Isha's gonna like
She can pull it off.
Yeah.
like.
Just
She
don't
has an
pull it off.
opening prayer, and then she's gonna like cast the spell.
Okay. Tell me about your prayer.
Oh gods, please forgive us for disturbing this past one, but we ask of it one more favor. And that's it.
This is Revivify your cast? Or
No.
is it,
It's
Speak with the
Speak
Dead?
with Dead.
Speak with the Dead. Speak with the Dead. Let's check that spell. Do you have it open in front of you?
Yes, it is on page 277.
Yes, I got it here. Within the last 10 days. Yes.
Yeah.
So you cast the spell, and you pull out your incense, and you utter the incantations that you have learned and have been trained for this spell, which you've never cast before.
I have.
Have you?
You
I
know,
have
look at
cast it.
So then you're not as
I
rusty
cast
as you
it on
worried.
Morgan.
Yes,
Oh
you're
my
right.
God, I remember that.
You're right.
Yeah.
So you can tell immediately that that you're not going to be able to make contact with this consciousness, and you know exactly why. As a cleric, you
Yeah.
know why, and that's that the soul is no longer in existence. So it cannot be brought back into contact. The thin thread between body and soul has not only been broken, but the soul itself has been erased. And you can tell this is elder magic. You remembered some of your experiences about how some of the elder gods are holding the souls of the dead in a kind of bondage in a metaphysical way, and that's the case here. The body cannot come back into contact. The soul cannot come back into contact.
And that, I'm assuming, is what affects the memory
That's
of
right.
people, because like
They're
their
gone,
their
and
story
they've
is
been
gone.
wiped.
Was that out loud?
Hmm?
That remark that you just made? Was that Isha
Yes.
in character? You notice at that point, Yulova, a look flashes over her face, and she says, "The Book of the Damned."
The Book of the Damned.
And she looks at one of her retainers and says, "The babushka warned us about this."
Ah,
Uh-huh.
I can't wait to meet Baba Yaga.
The babushka.
The babushka.
And the retainer and Yulova kind of look at one another. And Yulova looks at you and says, "My friends, I must depart briefly."
If you're going to the babushka, that was my next stop.
She's also my grandmother. Just you? Or are you bringing your friends?
I think my friends would be these.
Summon your friends and Druzdan while you're there.
Okay. Alrighty.
Friends.
That's what I'm gonna do.
So Isha kind of hustles. Vala is with her.
Yes.
Vala is taking a moment to say her own prayer, having learned what she just did about
Yeah.
what happened to these people, and just entreating that if there is any small piece of these souls left, they're able to find some peace.
Right.
Yeah.
Can you roll a percentile?
Let's follow.
It's only a 37.
37. Yeah. So again, you're not sure if you're being heard, but the utterance alone comforts you. So
And then-
Isha and Vala comes into the square, and they find Manjwe and Madri still there. And near the base of the tower, they can see Kajal and Anders
We
checking this
probably
out.
would actually be there as soon as it seems
Wouldn't
at the same time. We, at least Anders is going to basically say, basically quietly to Sif, probably under his breath, maybe protect me as I go into this tower, because he doesn't know what the tower
I would
is.
have gone.
And he would
Right.
be going up the tower.
Of the spire of the
Yeah,
elements,
there's no
yes.
guards.
And I would have
Yes,
gone
no,
with him
there's
too.
not.
So
And
it was
because
good
he's
to know.
curious with the tectonic stuff, and he has
So
his
we'll
own
say
system.
this happens simultaneously
Yeah.
with this piece
So
of the
he's
dead
going up.
ritual.
They're going to the tower.
Yeah, you notice there was this ornate carved water sort of pool fountain in the main floor, and there was a small sort of staircase leading up to the second level where you see almost scrupulously split and stacked wood, almost as if it's ritualistically significant. Another staircase, the second level, you hear this whooshing of air. There's an automatic bellows system with a kind of weighted, a system of weights and
I
pulleys.
think that would really impress Control.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Oh yeah, this would be impressive work. This would be impressive for a forge. And on the highest level, you see a sort of burning cresset there, and it's automatically being kind of stoked by
Can I
this-
roll
the bellows
perception for
below.
anything odd in the room with the fire?
Yeah.
Same. That's
That's where we probably left all our rope and shit.
Yeah.
Holy crap, man.
it's 15.
Yeah. So you can't tell anything about it except that it all seems to be of a kind of ritualistic piece. This is a pretty sort of impressive monument to the elements.
Does it disturb it all? I rolled a 15. So I rolled a 5.
You can't tell.
Okay.
You've never been in there before. In the city square, you can see that in some cases people are sort of dragging bodies away, but in some cases people are sort of shrieking, and they're very. This has been an unnerving, deranging experience for most of these town folk. You can tell they're rattled by it. What were Isha and Vala doing? They were getting Madri and Maj away. You have to search for Kajal and Anders, but you eventually find them by asking people, and you see that they were seen going into the tower. And you catch them just as
Did you
they're
see a
coming
man and a dwarf come through here?
Yeah.
Shouldn't they be
And-
walking
What
into
are
a
a
bar
man
somewhere?
in the middle?
Shouldn't be walking into
And
a
if you
bar
remember,
somewhere.
Dresdan,
Yeah,
Yulova's brother was 6'7". He was this kind of giant, and you pass along Yulova's request that you come to the babushka's house, which is right sort of that little house right there. Yes, and you sort of all sort of gather there, and as you approach, you see that Yulova is standing at the doorway, and she has kind of strange expression on her face. And as you walk up, you see that Dresdan steps in front of the group and speaks to his sister and says, "How long has it been?" And Yulova says, "Since we spoke, 18 months." And Dresdan shakes his head like that. Yulova looks around and says, "You are about to see us consult with she who we regard as our shamaness, woman of great wisdom, my grandmother. Do not speak unless you are spoken to." And she sort of guides you into this house, and you walk in, and you can see there's sort of heavy hanging draperies and sort of alembics and beakers and sort of containers of strange herbs, and there's kind of dried plants and flowers hanging everywhere, and sort of arcane relics and sort of knickknacks all over the place. And she guides you through sort of several rooms, and finally you get into this sort of dark sort of chamber in the back. It's barely big enough for all of you to sort of stand in, but you can see there's a kind of old woman there, and she has a kind of veil over her face, and she's bent over a book, and she's reading out loud and kind of rocking back and forth. And Yulova says, "Babushka, we have come in the time of necessity to consult with you. Will you hear us?" And the woman sort of pulls back her
Kasimka.
pulls back her.
She was waiting.
I know the word.
She pulls it back, and she
We
looks
made eye
up.
contact.
And you can see this woman is 100 if she's a day.
Mhm.
And she has this kind of weight of care, these kind of jowls, has that kind of fine white hair that old women get. And she kind of looks up, and she looks around, and you can see that she was so off in her own world that she actually has to fix on the features of the various people to remember. "Oh, how long has it been?" And Dresden says, 18 months, she says. She looks at Dresden and says, You be quiet. You're always too tall."
Vala.
Matri barks out because same.
And she extends one sort of crooked, warty finger. Long, yellowed fingernail.
Yeah, I love this one.
She looks and says, "Who are these others? Who are these? They are of strange race, I see. Easterner, a dwarf, a skinny dwarf. Who are these people?" "They are adventurers who have come to us perhaps at a time when we need aid. But I want to introduce Vala, who defeated the orc chieftain in battle yesterday." And she sort of ushers you forward. And the rest of you kind of feel like a little jilted by this.
Shot through the heart a little bit.
And you notice that
No, I'm proud of
the
my mom.
babushka kind of looks at you, and she kind of looks you up and down. You feel like you're sort of being sort of appraised. And babushka looks at Yulova and says, "Is she the white sister of the West?" Yulova says, "I do not know. I do not know this." Babushka says, "What is this hysteria I hear in the city? Screams I hear, bodies, guards running. What is it? What has happened?" Yulova says, "There's 60 dead in the Fountain Square that we cannot explain." Babushka says, "And they do not know who they are." Yulova nods. "And they have no memory of them." Yulova nods. "And the legacy of their deeds has been erased." Well, what does that mean? The Babushka says, their names have been written in the book of the damned. Their souls taken. They are in bondage. All memory of them has been wiped out. This is the mark of the return of Ragionus. He who holds the book, the Reckoner. I warned you of this. The time has come. Now out! I have more important things to attend to. Ulova says, more important things? The city itself is in danger. I'm writing my memoirs.
Speaking of writing, Isha, who does not know how to follow instructions,
Of course.
you said their names were written in the Book of the Damned, and so they're erased from our memories. Does that mean they can be erased from the Book of the Damned and bring back into our memories?
Babushka looks up and looks at Isha and goes, You're very smart.
Thank you!
If you were fair, I would say you are the white sister of the West.
Well, you know, metaphors. What if I were wearing a white dress?
This is an idea of some merit. I have thought of it. I have no doubt I'm the only one. Do you know of Borodin, the sage, who founded the city, defeated Ragionus, sealed him away in a vault? They say that if Ragionus returned, he would be keeping this book. What you are suggesting requires entering the sealed stronghold, and who would do such an insane thing?
Ha! Let me tell you some stories.
Well.
How much time do you have?
Yeah.
I would have no part of this. Wiped out. I alone. I am Borodin's granddaughter, and you are mine. And you have heard the stories of the Reckoner, his fearsome nature. What you are trying never be attempted. Your names would be wiped out as well. In fact, who are you again? Who are you again?
We are the Red Banner.
Ah. Ulova, what did you say? They arrived yesterday? Ulova looks and says, I think it was yesterday. When did you arrive?
If we're already written in the Book of the Damned, then we have nothing left to lose.
Might as well.
And
Go
what
ahead.
are our
But
names
we
worth
won't
anyway?
Remember each other if that's true.
Perception checks, all right.
Yeah.
Nat 20.
Oh my god, thank God.
14.
Someone will remember.
22.
16.
14.
14.
24.
24.
Very high perception, thank God.
8.
You gonna carry this?
So, Manjue and Anders, you look around at your companions, and for an instant, they look like strangers to you. And you have to struggle to recall, who is this Eastern woman that is with us? Who is this paladin of the North?
Wait, we're the ones looking around.
Yes. These
Yeah,
others,
but I am the Eastern woman.
I know.
Right,
I'm
he-
talking about
They're
Anders'
saying
point of
Anders.
view.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Anders' point of view on you and your point of view on Anders.
Right.
The rest of you, you look around and all of a sudden you realize for a moment there was some sort of derangement in your memory. And you claw those memories back to mind. And you remember your fond feelings for the others in your band, but you thought, what was that? That was not me. That was not normal. There was an intrusion in my consciousness that was impeding my memory. And you feel a sort of moment of frustration and panic. And then it's gone.
So, do we continue to feel like we're not really sure?
They were aware. They were aware that their memories were impeded. Your memories were just impeded.
Right, but do our memories remain impeded?
You have to struggle to recover them. And you find this a very unnerving experience.
Well, because I don't like wasting time.
Where is this sealed
Follow me.
thing?
Anders is already out the door when he says follow me.
I suppose we're going after this.
And the babushka
reckoner.
brings her veil over her head and looks at Anders walking out the door and goes, he knows. He was scoping it last night. I saw him.
Thank you for your time. Good luck with your memoirs.
Anders right there. He's
Can
probably
we talk about the irony of her?
he's probably already lifting a
I know.
rock
People
out.
are forgetting it.
And she looks up at you and says, good luck with your quest.
Paula just does one of her little fist over the heart, head nods, and then leaves.
And goes,
Right.
how are we working
This is
here?
interesting because I was actually going to make a case that he doesn't even know who his real name is
Yeah,
because of his backstory.
Yeah.
Anders could just be a given name.
Her name is Kyle.
Kyle.
Could be Kyle. So yeah, Anders, because he doesn't really have any things on lose right now if he's slowly being deleted, he's just going to already start basically unpacking the rocks.
I would hope.
So let's just work out the scene at the outside the Babushka's house. So you notice that actually Druzdan and Yulova are having a conversation amongst themselves, and clearly it begins with whispers and then it becomes an argument. And you see that she is kind of wildly gesturing and jamming her finger into his chest. I mean, he's scoffing like this. He's getting red-faced and blustering, and they're fuming at each other in this Kozaki language. And you can tell that they clearly have a difference of opinion about whether this should take place.
Yeah, well, family matters are not my concern.
So,
I would like to.
I'm
use-
gonna go over.
I mean, Vala's
Right.
worried, but she doesn't
Yeah,
want to
so
like
this-
get
yeah,
involved in
involved.
family
Okay, well,
squabbles.
So, guess we're going to be.
So you guys begin to walk away, and you walk as Yulova sort of grabs the front of Druzdan's kind of shaggy, sort of fur-coated breastplate, and shakes it, and sort of pushes him away like this, and then he sort of moves towards her with a clenched fist, and she raises her finger, and he stands back like that and drops it, and you realize the amount of power this woman has, and she.
Vala's like, I love her.
So the moment you have that sense, she actually walks over to you, and she steps up very close, and she takes your hand, and she kind of leans over, and her face is very close to yours, and her mouth is very near your ear. You get a chill down your back when she speaks, and she says, "What you're contemplating is dangerous. I cannot risk myself as the leader of the city. Do you understand this?
I would never ask it of you.
I would ask you to be very careful. Should you come through this, I would have words with you." And she walks away.
It's again, girl.
Yes, my lady.
And she actually walks
let's
away.
hope this one doesn't get
Pulls
pregnant.
out.
Yeah.
She walks away, and you notice
What?
you notice that she is walking away with doesn't even look over her shoulder. Like this sort of steel spine of this woman impresses you. You watch as Drezdan stands there, and he
Pulls out
watches his
breastplate.
sister walk away, and then he looks over at you, and you can tell he's sort of itching to kind of go with you. But he walks up to you and says, "I'm sworn to protect my sister. Do you understand?
Yes.
I will put my axe at stake with your quest. I cannot do this thing. Good fortune." He walks
Do you know
away.
anyone who can?
The city is filled with vagabonds and adventurers. Just this morning, I heard of a band of rogues. You're familiar with the Hidden Hand?
I've heard whispers.
My friend would have known.
She
I have
would.
a report that the city was infiltrated by rogues last night. Remarkably, nothing was stolen. The dead bodies have turned up. There was one in an alley.
Oh, whoops.
Taurus
The
Solyanka
guards.
is telling stories of romance.
I wonder what his wife thinks.
Ooh.
I bid you good luck. Puts his axe over his shoulder and walks away.
I would like to use stillness of mind
Okay.
to end the effect on me that is causing me to be charmed or frightened.
Okay, so
Nice.
yeah, stillness of mind. Is there a roll on that? I don't
No.
think there is.
No.
Yeah.
It's cantrip.
So
It's a level. It's
oh,
not-
give me a wisdom check.
Cool. Okay.
I was gonna like lucky.
Sort of.
Sort of.
It's a motion.
Yeah. 12.
12. So while that whole conversation was taking place between Yulova and Vala and between Druzdan and the rest of the party, you didn't notice that Majue had backed away and had kind of put her hands in a kind of peaceful kind of lotus position around her middle and had closed her eyes and was sort of centering herself. And when you open your eyes, Majue, you are aware of the fact that there was some magical intrusion in your memory, and you managed to claw back your own recollections from some sort of threatening erasure of them. And you've never felt anything like it. You cannot ascribe it to any mystical knowledge that you were taught as a monk, and you can only conclude that it's a magical influence. What else are you doing?
We're going to.
Well,
rock
we were
pile.
at the rock pile. We're probably while that was all happening, unpacking rocks.
So you actually notice that these slabs are probably 2 or 3 tons each. You can move away even some of the larger stones, but these are absolutely gigantic slabs. And in some cases, they're 5 by 5, 4 feet
Can I tell
high.
if they were hand carved or?
Give me a check on that. Intelligence check.
Oh, that's better. Oh, double D's. 17.
So you notice that most of them have been smashed, and not necessarily by sort of chisels and hammers, smashed by some sort of incredible power. This is the kind of residue you see at a siege,
Okay.
and you think that they've been sort of piled up. You have no idea what sort of power could lift a 3-ton stone on 4 high.
No, just a lot of people who used math. Thought to use math because they were
Ancient
brown
alien
and not
theories are
white.
some of the most racist
Racist
theories.
things
I know.
As the rest of you walk up, you see that Kajal and Anders are standing there, and they're sweating a little bit from having moved away some of these stones. In some cases, they're picking up, 75-pound blocks, but there's no way that even the whole lot of you could move a 3-ton block of stone.
Is it
Yeah,
possible,
where's Ren when you need him?
just with to basically make a big enough path that we could just basically
Sweet.
squeeze through the rocks and just basically kick down the door?
So
Basically, kind of
to investigate that option, Anders sort of scrambles to the top of the pile of stone, and in some cases his armor is sort of scraping on the stone. You hear that metallic sound. He gets to the very top, and he sort of puts his hands forward, and he puts them up against the door, and you can get your fingers in like this, and you can see that it's sealed. Perhaps it's nailed shut on the other side, but it's absolutely solid.
Vala's gonna kind of investigate around the door area to see if maybe there's some kind of mechanism that could be uncovered or triggered or something like
Okay,
that.
so give me an intelligence check or a wisdom check, your choice.
Okay.
While everyone's doing this, I think Major would kind of pipe up. I know.
Oh boy.
Ooh, that's a good one. Say that.
22.
22, was that intelligence?
Yes. No, wisdom. Sorry.
So you're sort of looking around, you're checking around the door frame and the stonework around the outside, and you can see that this stone has that kind of shiny but also charred quality of there's been fire on this, there has been magical power on this, there's been dragon fire on this. Some incredible battle took place here, and this is the refuse from it. But more than anything, you get a kind of a feeling of emanation of sort of evil magic that is sort of at play here. You're not sure if it's magic that moved the door or has sealed the door, but the whole place is radiating. You can feel this sort of eerie emanation.
Madri would speak up and I know we're all probably shaken by what happened in the babushkas, but can we just take a moment to talk about what we're about to do? We don't need a plan. I would just vague outline of what we got going on.
12%.
12%.
Yeah.
12%?
Well, I feel as though we should write some sort of instructions to ourselves.
after we lose our memory.
Yes.
Yes, I think that's a very clever
We
idea.
should write
Perception
instructions.
checks, hold on, please.
Oh boy.
I see nothing.
Unnatural
Oh
20.
my god, nat 20 again!
Unnatural
Yes.
I'm
24
wasting
again.
them, but this is
24.
also decent.
21.
21.
I don't see anything.
So Kajal and Madry and what was Andrew?
Unnatural 20.
Anders, you actually
And
notice
Mondway?
just for a split second while Madry's speaking, you hear something and you glance over your shoulder and you see a halfling around the corner
Son of a bitch.
Yes.
Son of a bitch.
behind this house here, in between the brazier and the house, and he's
Nice.
staring at you. And the moment you turn, his little head disappears.
Oh
He's
my
gone.
God.
Disappears. This
Whoa.
son of a
He's
bitch.
gonna follow us into the
This
fucking
son of a
dungeon. I
bitch.
swear to
He
God.
had red hair.
That he's gonna be our
It's a
have
wood
some
door?
assistance, you guys.
But the wood is very, very old.
He's gone.
How
So-
old? Old as fuck.
Anders with the mailed glove,
Scary.
he's just going to basically kind of go like
How old
this.
is this forest?
It's kind of a punch to see if he can punch through the door at all.
Right, give me a strength check.
My grandson will understand.
10.
Okay, so you give it a pretty strong punch, and you feel this pain come back up the gauntlet of your hand, and you take 1 hit point damage.
Okay.
No. Oh, no.
Anders will basically propose this idea. It's like, you guys can spend time writing memories down, but I think it's better if we just solve the problem before we have to worry about that plan.
How high is the wall?
I think it's password protected.
The wall is about 50 feet high.
Have you tried a birth date? Just kidding.
Bella.
She doesn't really say that. Who's Belloc's
It's
wife's
either a
name?
riddle
For
or
the
a
squad?
or
Yeah.
What makes you think that?
I tried punching the door and it didn't move.
Yeah, that doesn't always work. I would know. What makes you think it's a riddle?
What makes you think it's a riddle? It's sealed. You can't barge through it in any sort of way. So there's a magical seal. Magic is usually invoked by magic or some sort of ritual. Who else would know a ritual? Probably a family member, ironically enough. All the ones who insist they don't help us. So either there's a riddle of the statue, and we don't need a relative, or we need a relative who has some sort of knowledge of the magic that the founder of this town, Ramus, used to seal the Book of the Damned and whoever we're trying to kill again.
Well, the bush is not going to tell us.
Were you thinking of Regionus? Was that the name you were?
Regionus,
Whoever is in there.
I forgot the name, and I'm going to assume that Anders would forget the name, probably because also his memory's being affected anyway. So I'm
That's
going to
true.
go with it.
Let me write it for you.
Oh my God.
Yeah, thank you.
Is there like Dunkaroos and cookie form?
Shut up, I need water.
I made Dunkaroo dip once from scratch in college.
Oh
flavor
man,
that.
that sounds so worth it. I miss Dunkaroos.
That was the spelling of the name of the vanquished elder.
My jaws taste really good.
No.
That's pretty great.
The chicken.
You can always just throw in the word reckoner
Mhm.
because they love it so much here.
True. Glenn, do you want
Probably
any
have to say Reckoner and Cossack then.
That's where we got a little bit of a problem. I don't
No, we
seem to
don't.
recall.
At this point, you're actually noticing wagons going through the street with piles of corpses.
Bring out your dad.
Dead!
passing
Clank.
along.
Bring out your dad.
For some reason, Mondway is just really
Well,
And, can you give me a perception check as you notice this?
upset by it all.
everyone or just Frenchway? Everyone?
Yeah, everyone is looking at
He
the
doesn't
corpses.
hear me usually.
Oh, okay.
I think I'm on the wrong side or something.
12.
Yeah.
Damn it, stop.
And I
Well,
talk
got a nine.
softly.
17.
15.
Trying to clean the
Nine.
house here.
9.
12.
No, 10.
Anders actually just out of the corner of his eye looks at a wagon of corpses go by, and for a second you do a double take. It looks to you like the features of the faces have started to wear.
What?
Ooh, I don't like this. I don't like this. I don't like this.
I don't like this either.
I don't do well with
Horror
body
movie
horror. I do
No.
not.
I love it.
Yeah, I know you fucking do.
Yo,
Of course you do.
Veronica, this is my thing, Troy.
He will say,
I'm gonna fucking nightmares.
Before this gets creepier.
Mm-hmm.
we don't have that long.
Okay, hold on.
We have probably less than 24 hours before we look like that.
Oh my god.
Great, I'm writing everything down.
Mondway,
Well, you can write things
This
down. I
house
want
is
to open
kind
the
of like
goddamn door!
she's shutting down a bit.
Alright,
Mhm.
don't raise your voice at me.
Raise your voice at the evil.
I'm
entities.
tying a
Like
pin
visibly.
Who says I
to
was
my
yelling at
50-foot
you?
rope.
Right.
and trying
He
to
was saying with a
swing it
very
up all
snide
the way.
smirk.
Mhm,
Okay.
mhm.
So you, it takes you several
I know we
tries
can-
to get it up that high.
Yeah.
Finally, you do, and
Lonely.
you rappel up the wall.
Whoa!
At the top, it's simply cultivated land. It's
My job here is done.
farmland. It's forests.
You don't have to help
Here?
yourself up.
50 feet up. It's simply grown over with time.
Oh,
It's another tier of the city.
You can't like dig
We're
down.
not
No, it's not going into a thing. I was hoping.
Okay, probably with
Yeah.
frustration, he's just going to start basically chucking rocks from his vantage point, just basically shoving them out of the way. He's getting really frustrated.
These stones are bigger than this table.
Isha's writing flashcards on everyone in the party.
Okay, you know what? I'll rappel back down.
Okay.
Good job.
I'm gonna walk over
I'm
to
like
just
making
take a
copies
break.
for everybody.
and just stand over there,
Where did you get paper?
Where's where? This
just
for
10
for
feet that
that.
way, away
that.
from the
I'm
wall.
assuming.
If anybody would have paper, it would be you.
Where does everybody get shot energy?
I'm gonna sling this shield and the sword back on my back. Take out your leg for the first time since
What?
it happened.
Yeah,
Right.
yeah. Madry's like jaw dropped. She wasn't paying attention. Now she is.
I really think it's actually very deep fears in my character. That's why he's so angry.
Yeah.
Odin, guide my swing.
Isha's gonna have to talk with him though.
Give me
Crap,
either
I
a
guessed.
melee attack or a strength
You just
attack.
got out your liquor.
For the first time.
Okay.
Since
Since the incident.
the incident.
And I'm using it against the wall because we don't know how to
He just,
see it.
he just,
The
incident
he
where-
he
The
just,
wall is not
The incident.
We're secretly
Are
running
you-
back to
Are
life.
you
Brain-
off trying to strike the door or you're striking the stones?
His brain liquefaction.
The door.
incident.
The door, so you're
Yeah,
on
I
top.
I'm
trying to-
hoping magic.
Ball it
Like
in the
anybody
mouth.
Something
could
magic
forget.
Alright.
here.
Okay.
Well, depending on what happens here, I might use regular attack.
Okay.
Or Balka.
It's just a lot of sugar.
To hit? Like it's an attack
Yeah.
to hit?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, that's a fucking 24.
All right.
fucking,
So you actually swing back, and after uttering this sort of dedication, you swing the hammer back. And just when you're about to, you all watch as he begins to throw his weight into it, and there's like a crack of thunder, and you see a little lightning bolt come down into the hammer, and he brings it forward,
That's fucking awesome.
and there's
it
this
so much.
flash of light,
Nice.
and two of the large blocks on top of the door split, and the stones fall away, and the doors
Now
go
we're
in, and there's about a foot gap in the door, and it's darkness, and you notice there's this sort of almost like an exhalation of breath, this
Yep.
puff of dust
course.
comes out.
One way to make that.
all right.
certainly is.
I just. Thank you. And I put it back.
This is,
I,
this is actually in character.
that was awesome.
Anders is going to try to basically pull the doors open now and get,
So-
work any angle he
I'm-
can.
Yeah, so you can see that what's happened is there's a series of thick beams that have been laid in to brace the door, and all three of them have like broken and
Oh.
splintered.
Well, then what
And
he
so you just need to shake the splinters
Nice.
loose,
Wait,
and then you're able to push
Oh,
the
yeah.
doors until about
Good.
2 feet wide.
Good.
And so
think they're
Anders
open now.
Anders is trying to enter. He steps down off the stones and finds himself in a kind of a dark floor. He can't see anything
Okay.
beyond it.
Isha, first of all, is gonna hand everyone little flashcards of them about
She's been
themselves.
writing
Tell me
them
what
in
you
case
tell me
you-
exactly what
Oh
you
yeah. Can I not have mine? he's gonna be like, do I even want to read this?
She's saving you for last. Hang on, buddy.
Okay, I'm gonna go pee then.
So,
Hold on to your britches.
so she's written things like
Sir.
their name.
Okay.
So she's written down everybody's name. They're like essentially the description of their class.
Okay.
And that
kind of what they can do. Like, what is
well,
it say?
you know, like for herself, it's like Isha Almazi. You are a healer, former gladiator. You know, all of that
Okay.
stuff, like
Your prompt.
acrobat.
Memory prompt.
Yes,
Yeah, it's
right.
memory prompts
Okay.
on, so she knows what she's capable of. So then she's counting on like muscle memory.
All right.
Your
Anything
goddess
else?
is
Name
Medusa.
class patronage.
Yeah,
Okay.
and you are traveling with friends, and then like a brief. Well, she's not gonna use any like facial descriptions,
Okay.
but she's gonna say like she's gonna write down the names of all of her friends.
Okay.
And so everyone's like,
So you do
Cool.
one card for
I'm
everybody.
gonna
Yeah.
say Vala's gonna have to write her own.
yeah. She's gonna go up here and just like,
I wrote your name
She
at the
wrote
top.
your name.
You killed the orc
This
once.
is a relevant
She has, like,
question
a
though. So
scroll.
does Vala go along with this? Does she imitate this?
She thinks it's a good idea.
This
Yeah.
plan?
Yeah, so
Okay.
she would do her own little card. She probably
Right.
she does put down like her capabilities, but she also puts down like key memories, like
Yeah.
like Ingrid taught you how to fight, Signy
Okay.
taught you how to heal, stuff like that.
Can I
Okay.
ask?
Oh, she's gonna say,
Would
look
you have
at.
had any reaction to that?
She was very impressed.
Okay.
Almost
the
right.
note-
Quietly impressed.
Right,
like,
quietly.
Because I
Also-
haven't done anything
Like,
since we
yeah.
Yeah,
met.
Isha-
so-
definitely startled a little bit too,
Isha's
because
written-
she wasn't expecting you to pull out your Laker.
So okay, so basically, as Anders sort of just steps down from the stones and disappears between the doors, you all realize that what Isha's been doing for the past sort of 10 minutes is she's taken out a fairly large manuscript page and she's been folding it into little pieces. And she's been writing
Yeah.
everybody's name and everybody's class and they're sort
And
of
she'll have like, you know,
Isha in the
Kajal-
corner with her like
she'll-
puffy pens.
Yeah, one of her little bullet points for Kajal is like check your tattoos, and she has the same thing for herself
okay.
because she knows like that's a thing.
And so then
right?
Isha sort of folds all these and then tears off these little
Yeah.
sort of coupon-sized
Yep.
pieces of paper, and
Yep.
she offers a blank one to Vala,
Yeah.
who writes her
And
own
when she's written
information.
Vala's shield hard on
What do you
everyone
all
else's
do when
flashcard.
you're handed these things?
I'm gonna borrow Monjoli's
She's gonna get to you.
quill, whatever
Yeah.
you're
Just
writing
this
with,
asshole.
and or your charcoal or whatever.
Yeah. She's
And,
probably using like coal eyeliner.
Of
Yeah. Add to it, your parents were killed by the elder god.
Yeah.
Do you write that in Kianese or in common?
Ooh, that's a question.
I have Kianese,
Okay.
definitely.
Yeah.
Okay, so you have one left
Um,
because Anders has
yeah,
disappeared
so then-
over the other side of the stone pile.
Then Isha lights up her shield, you
Okay.
know, with a cantrip,
Mm-hmm.
and she goes in after Anders,
Okay.
and she's gonna like stop him at the or try to stop him at the shoulder
How?
by touching his shoulder.
No, because this is important.
Yeah.
He's charging. He's charging forward, basically.
Oh.
He wants to get this
Damn
over
it,
with.
Adrian wishes she could see this.
Anders, stop.
Wait,
She's still writing.
I
Turns
didn't
around.
Could I have opposed charisma checks, please?
Yes! Oh man, Madry's so mad!
Oh no, I'm not doing well.
Madry's so mad you can't
The
see this
other
right now. Oh my
thing-
god.
That's
Andre
upsetting.
writes
It's a saving throw or checks.
Opposed charisma
So just straight.
checks.
I don't. Get 9.
What'd you roll?
I rolled
You didn't even
8.
We're
not.
It's in sort of the heat of the moment, and there's this kind of heavy activity going on, but you sort of feel this little admiration for Anders and his hard charging nature.
She always feels that. She just doesn't
She's
say
reminded of it. She's
You
reminded
have
of
those
it.
moments where you're just like,
She
wow.
hands you a piece of paper. You can choose to notice it or not notice it.
Anders, we're going in here. We're going to use your emotions against you. If you need that anger to remember who you are, I can't convince you otherwise. But remember the good things in your life. Remember.
When you say good things, he goes,
Can you do
Remember
a
that
wisdom
there is-
check, please?
yeah. Like, he will do all the wisdom checks. Continue.
Remember that there is good that we see in you, and there is good in our mission.
That one.
Oh
In that moment, you actually clue out Isha.
Oh yeah.
And all of this sort of high talk of sort of deeds that were done.
Yeah.
But you actually flash back to the conference with the babushka, and you remember what she said about how your sort of legacy can be wiped out if you do not erase your names from the Book of the Damned, and even just an instinct of self-preservation.
Oh yeah.
It's not ego, it's not morality, an instinct of self-preservation
From
kicks in.
back then,
Yeah.
he basically he'll turn to you and go like, get everyone in here right now.
Take your damn scroll.
What does his scroll say? He will peer at it for half a second. So what's the first couple bullet points? So he knows if he should rip it up or not.
So it says Anders Stormwind,
Mm-hmm.
That's not which is
Paladin of Sith.
Mm-hmm.
What else does it say?
Murderer of Morgan.
Murder.
She's
Morgan,
not gonna say that.
Light of my
Stormwind
life.
is actually
Light of my life.
Let him say, you killed my
You-
son.
He killed my son.
Stormwind already triggers him.
Carry his son around in his sword.
His his rank with the New Order,
Okay.
allied with the lead co-leader.
Right. So you
essentially.
take this and then you look at it, you glance at it.
If he starts to rip it up, she's gonna take it back.
He won't rip it up.
Hmm.
He's just gonna stuff it in I guess the.
Stuff it down his shirt. Yeah. Okay.
a
So
great
what are the
place
rest
for
of you
it.
doing? What are the rest of you doing? You actually
I
can
followed
hear
in.
this.
I
So
followed in.
Kajal has actually been sort of. You actually stop and you watch Anders and Isha, and this is why.
Mhm.
Why
Yeah.
this is you're about to go on this sort of active dungeoneering that is
I will
part of
keep your name
Kajal's
for you,
nature,
asshole.
and this seems absurd to you. You find yourself in this square chamber. What are the rest of you doing? You're following.
Somebody help me out.
Vala's gonna say a prayer before she
Oh.
goes in.
Thank you.
I actually wrote it. It's only a
Oh,
sentence.
all
Okay,
right.
so like,
Yep,
Don't get excited.
I'm very
I'm happy you
excited.
do that stuff because it makes sense for paladins with oath of devotion. Oh no,
Yeah.
ancients. To do that.
Ancients,
The
yeah.
moment,
He's
the
veteran,
moment,
so he's a
the
language.
moment
Wait,
Anders
he
and
has
Isha
a
and Kajal.
prayer.
Wait,
Oh,
James,
sorry.
your
Go
prayer.
ahead. Go ahead.
It's just a sentence.
All right.
I'm excited.
Great goddess, lend me the strength of your heart and your blade as I fight to undo what evil has been done here.
God, I want
Percentile, please.
Andre also wrote down on her paper. Okay.
You added
Sorry.
information there.
Oh, 45.
45.
Mm.
Yes. Once again, you're sending worthy prayers into the ether.
Andre
She's busy.
wrote down just generally what Fist of Unbroken Air is.
So you basically,
Technique.
you're very impressed with yourself. In sort of Kiani's script, you repeat the manual that you studied at the monastery
Okay.
with sort of perfect memory, and you feel sort of bolstered against whatever this threat to
Yeah.
your recollection is.
I think I would have helped her up, but I think I would have come in last
Okay.
intentionally.
So what's Madry doing?
I helped hoist her up. 'cause
Yeah,
She was worried about.
So now I'm probably scrambling down the other side.
Give me a perception check.
This other.
I want to do this. So bad.
It's fine, but okay. Only 16.
16. You
Yeah, it's me.
glance over your shoulder, you're
want
clambering
this.
over the
I
stone,
want this to happen.
and you see a halfling kind of looking at you. And you glance back over your shoulder, and your eyes lock for an instant,
Ew.
and then he sort of disappears into the darkness.
I wanted to.
I'm gonna kick him in the ass.
I would.
So then you clamber down the stone, the
Yeah.
other side of the stones, and you see that Kajal and Anders and Isha are already there.
Well, I was going to say I'm coming in. I would say.
Oh, yeah, you're
I'm
coming up the
in
rear.
last,
So you actually
Um,
wait until Vala
yeah.
passes you.
and I would kind of touch the door where I hit it with the hammer.
Yeah.
And just say, Odin, as I cross this threshold, may I once again cross it on the way back out.
So you speak, and in the moment you speak, you feel this strange sense of foreboding,
Yeah, no kidding.
and you watch as the doors begin to close
Yep.
On their own.
on their own.
Mm-hmm.
Is Manjaway coming through?
Yeah.
I would have let them. I would have had everybody pass.
So
Yeah.
Manjaway
Everybody-
quickly. Well, you didn't say. So Manjaway sort of
I
quickly
don't
sort of.
think everybody said that they were moving, but
I was
Yeah.
asking. So everybody, so you sort of quickly clamber in, and then literally the moment you pass between the doors, they go like this, and dust falls from the doors, and the splintered sort of bolts that have been blocking it come collapsing down. You find yourself in this chamber. It's about 40 feet by 50 feet, and the moment the doors close behind you, you notice that these where's the switch here?
There is one.
Is it at the rocks or inside?
These-
I think
these-
after the thing.
These torches light up like this, and you notice that actually lights the darkness because no one had a torch. And you
I
No,
lit my
She lit-
shield.
your shield is
Yeah.
lit. So your shield is providing this dull glow. These two torches sort of automatically ignite above this archway. But you notice that there's a sort of a 20 by 40 inset stone in the center of this chamber. And in the center of that is a sort of burning crescent that also has come to life.
After the thing closed behind them and like that, and the lights came up, Bala would turn to Kajal and say, "I can think of at least one reason we'll need your hammer again, my friend." And it's just a very optimistic thing. She
And I
believes they're going to be leaving again.
And I think he would turn and say, I hope it doesn't come
Divine Sense,
Thunder.
18.
Real thunder?
Yeah, it's been going on and off. For a while.
Mostly looking for what direction is the concentration of magic so they get in and out as quickly as possible.
This is Divine Sense?
Yeah.
Okay.
Divine Sense lets me basically, I think, get a better, like within 150 feet or so, I think.
Is it an at-will spell, or what
Yeah.
exactly
As
is
an
this?
action, you
Yeah,
can
it's
open your
very,
senses to detect strong evil and or powerful good. Until the
Right.
end of your next turn, you know the location of any celestial, fiend, or undead within 60 feet of
60
you that is
feet.
not behind total cover.
No, I like to just add Elder because you have that Elder thing in there, basically. You
Yeah.
add Elder there. So basically, if he knows 60 feet, there's any
So
traps or
You
Elder
actually
magic.
notice that you actually get the profound sense that the most operative magic is right in front of you. And you sense that it's benevolent magic. And as you look at this burning crescent, your eyes sort of descend from the sputtering flames, which have just come to life, to the kind of carved brass molding on the tripod. And you notice that inset, sort of as decorative imagery around the bowl of this crescent, there appear to be sort of decorative blood drops around the base of this crescent.
Yeah, so Anders will approach that and study it a little more carefully.
So Anders moves right up to it. Where are the rest of you as he does this?
Roll a investigate check, I guess. 18.
So Anders has gone right up to the crescent.
Yeah, maybe we'd be probably hanging
Oh,
back a
17,
little
sorry.
bit.
Fine, 17. 17 investigate. And since you said benevolent, right?
Yep.
So the investigate would likely probably be very gentle, like just running like a mailed hand, just very
Okay.
gently on it.
Is anybody with Anders in this doing this?
I think Bala would also approach
Yeah,
that.
same.
All
I
approaches?
think you should.
So you should do.
So as sort of seconds pass, as you notice this, and again, there's these kind of droplet sort of shaped sort of decoration on the bowl of this, but you notice that the reason you think it's blood is you see these little lines above it. It looks like a wound from which the blood droplet is falling. As you're watching this, you begin to see the crescent sort of fade. The flames start to go down, and they're slowly fading out.
The blood drops are carved.
Yes, in brass, or molded in brass.
What, is
Forged
this
in
like
brass.
a thing in the middle of the room?
Yeah.
Or, okay, I can't see it.
Yeah, it's like a
Well, you
little,
come around if you
little
like. Bring your chair
stand.
around, or everybody. Maybe you want to go 3
Yeah,
and 3
I
on
can,
each
I can
side.
move, I can move
Well,
down.
Yeah,
I probably won't be able to see too much from even 3 and
so
3.
as you say, it's
I
kind
don't
of
think
fading.
it's over here.
As you say, it's fading.
yeah, the flames are disappearing slowly.
Anders will say,
Okay.
not to be the pessimist in the room, but that was probably the last little bit of benevolent magic we have in here.
Apart from that which we generate ourselves.
As the
Exactly.
flames slowly die, they go back. They go down into the coals, and then you see the flames snuffed out, and only smoke begins to go up. And all of a sudden, the floor drops out from beneath you.
Oh!
That's like
As you
Shakespeare's
do.
hanging
And
out.
it's like, let's see, Kajal, can you do, and Manjouet, can you do a dexterity check?
Do I get danger sense?
Yes, you do.
Hell yeah, it never comes up, but I gotta.
I
Does
have
that give you advantage?
Yeah.
Yes.
I have evasion.
Yes.
My instinctive agility lets me dodge out of the way of certain area effects.
This
Such
is not an
as-
area effect.
Okay. Alright.
I nat 1 and nat 20, so I nat 20.
Yo!
Holy shit.
So, the floor in that 40 or that 20 by 40 panel, in other words, the panel that everybody except Manjouet and Kajal are standing on.
Major's
Kajal,
not
Yeah,
standing
I
on
wasn't. I didn't mean to be. I wasn't
None
mini
of us
marching, but I
really-
was hanging back.
Well,
Controlled
give me a
art.
dexterity check.
I will give you that check.
Fair enough.
So the floor actually falls, and you and Kajal, you watch as this whole panel just drops, just straight down, and you actually just put your glove, your gauntlet just up on the edge, and you're just dangling there. You can't believe your good sort of luck. You're sort of standing there, and you watch the floor go down.
7.
Manjue fails her dexterity check and tumbles into the chasm.
15.
So you watch as Maidry actually jumps and catches the edge of her bow just on the edge of this,
Nice.
and sort of claws herself back up.
But everybody else.
The
falls.
rest of you have
Everybody else
fallen,
falls.
and the floor falls 50 feet
Oh no.
straight down.
Okay.
So that is going to be.
We're all
Falling
passing out.
damage?
Yeah, that's going to be 5d6.
D6 per.
Everybody roll your damage.
5d6.
Y'all. I got 1 cure wounds.
Can I,
16.
I think I want to be lucky.
I think I want to be lucky. Yes, I would
That's what I
recommend
used.
it.
Oh no! Veronica,
You roll
fuck me.
all 6s.
How many
Close.
sixes did you roll?
I rolled 2 6s, a 5, a 4, and a 2. So that's
Shit.
I got 3 4s and 2 2s, so that's
21, 23 points damage.
Wow. There is this massive clatter as this huge stone platform plunges down 50 feet before it hits ground. And you all sort of just are sort of thrown against the floor with this powerful impact. You're stunned. Isha takes how many points damage?
23.
23 points damage. Vala takes
16.
16 points damage. Anders takes
22.
22 points damage. Manjue, having failed your check. Oh,
You
you're-
have to tell me whether I can use my luck point. Because it says that you can choose to spend one of your luck points after you roll the die, but before the outcome is determined.
yeah, you would have needed to have told me before.
Okay,
before
alright,
I
so
revealed the
I'm
outcome
rolling
of that.
damage.
Sorry about that. What was Maidry's? Oh, you didn't fall.
No, I didn't fall.
Yeah, you're dangling from the edge.
Alright, how
You-
many d6s?
5d6.
5.
So you are all, there's fractured bones, there's
Yeah.
bruises.
Yeah, well, Anders will use lay on hands to basically heal himself back up
Okay.
to max. So
So
That
you
was
watch as
Xander.
Anders sort of utters these kind of dedications to Sif and kind of
Here
sort
we
of
go.
channels divine energy back into his own health.
Odin's beard! What happened?
Do I have to roll to pull myself up?
at 12
Yeah, I
points.
think-
Great.
I'm
I was
Okay,
gonna do
sure.
the same
Yeah.
thing.
You're
So
like,
I just imagine Anders basically just goes.
So there's a good 20 seconds of you're stunned and you
yeah.
have to sort of crawl yourself back up. You have to sort of check your make all the sort of fidelity of your bone house.
Bone house.
He's gonna respond to you by basically shouting back.
15, 7.
Seems that benevolent magic was actually malevolent.
No, that's
I think you mean malevolent.
7.
Is there a way out of the room?
Do you see anything?
Should I let down a rope or is there a way out of that room?
Do you have 50 feet of rope?
Yeah.
I do.
As Isha stands up and her shield sort of it sort of illuminates this 20 by 40 pit that you've fallen down into, you see that the crescent is crushed. The tripods is the coals are spilled. The sort of the bowl of it is dented. The whole thing is scattered across.
Oh, we don't know that.
I know. Major.
Then he's gonna say,
Jen
drop the
thinks that
50
Major
feet of
is
rope,
not
tie
bad.
it to something. We'll try to climb out.
That's all.
Yeah, I mean,
Who's got 50 feet?
Maybe.
of rope?
I also
Okay,
have a
so
ton of rope too.
Kajal and Maidry sort of hastily put some ropes end to end, and eventually this knotted rope comes down. You take turns sort of crawling up. So you healed yourself. Vala healed yourself. Isha,
I will heal myself.
how much damage did Manjue take?
17 points.
17 points.
Gosh darn.
I have some extra. You want me to lay on hands? Lay little hands on you?
Sure.
Hold on.
Yeah.
I don't know if this is coaching or not, but it would come up. Don't you have Featherfall or there's a monk thing that
I have
lets you?
slow fall.
Yeah.
Can reduce falling damage by 5 times monk level. So that my monk level is 7, so by
35.
You'd be
35.
fine.
Oh,
Do you
yeah,
have to
yeah.
activate that or is it automatic?
That sounds like a
I don't
passive.
have any note other than that. Hold on a second.
That sounds like it's a
I was gonna say,
passive
there's a
skill.
monk thing, so this never
I
happens.
know that.
to
I
me.
have to say that totally is coaching.
That is
Okay.
But
coaching,
that's a
but
cool
thank
feature.
That's a
you.
very cool feature. Thank you for bringing it to our
Yeah.
attention.
Yes, please. Thank
My
you.
players have done
Anytime.
enough that I've basically seen.
I've
every
never had
type
to
of
use it
character.
before, so I forgot.
Yeah,
about
no,
Okay.
you're right. And
Slow
it's a
fall.
beautiful.
Beginning of 4th level, you can use your reaction when you fall to reduce any falling damage you take by an
Yeah,
amount
but
equal
you
to
need
5
to
times
declare.
your
You need to declare
Okay.
an action.
Alright.
It doesn't
No,
say
but it's a
declare.
great. Glad to bring it to our attention.
It says your reaction.
Yeah, you have to
You have
declare a
to-
reaction.
So you would say, I'm falling, I'm gonna use
I'm gonna use
Just
before I hit the
slow
ground.
roll.
Alright, well, next time.
next time.
Next time.
Yeah.
Is Vala doing the laying on of hands?
I'll
or
remember
whatever?
it since
Yeah, I
it's
have
such
19
I-
hit points left to
memorable
spare
fall.
after
forget
healing
my lucky,
myself.
which is a D20.
Okay.
I have to
roll
heal
all
myself,
the time.
so.
Well, I have the
What
lucky
laying on
two
hands
hit
brings
points.
how many hit points back?
Well, you
17.
have a pool of hit points equal to 5 times your character level,
Oh,
and
that's
you can
right.
basically choose however
Yeah.
many
Yeah.
you
So
want.
how
I
much?
use
How much divine energy do you want to revive?
how much do you have? How much
She
did you
took
lose?
17.
17.
All
I
right.
want you at full health. We have
Okay.
a lot. We have work to do.
So you actually feel
That-
Oh
this
god,
because of your spiritually
Beth, I should die
refined
by your
monkish
Oh, is it?
sensibilities, you feel this sense of gratitude and well-being that comes from this philanthropic, this generous
Okay.
paladin that has come to your aid.
Generous.
She
Um,
cares a lot about
intelligent.
everyone.
So while this is
Passionate.
taking place, Anders and Isha have come up the rope and
Actually, Anders would have since he goes last.
I'm gonna
Okay.
say
I'm gonna heal myself as a level.
In case there's a trap down here, he thinks he can handle it.
Level 2 spell.
That was the smell.
What
I
level?
know, they're
What
great.
level are you casting?
2.
Two.
Two
You
level
want
2
to roll or you want me to
talents.
roll?
You can roll for me.
Okay. You regain 8 hit points.
Nice.
Alright.
So,
So
Manjue was feeling very
How many did you lose?
rattled.
23.
Rattled is
How much you
not
get back?
that light word from the
Before you
massacre
go up, he's
Yeah.
basically
and
gonna kill
everything
you
that
back.
happened.
12. He has
Yeah.
12 left.
She somehow it was connecting strongly to her parents' death,
What's that total?
and so she's
You're
just
at C
not
minus
been
right now.
herself.
20.
But when damn it, what's your character's when
Vala.
Vala heals her, she feels a little hopeful again. Like it's not, like this is not a hopeless situation.
just
So this is
physical
what
healing,
Manjue is thinking when
Right.
she scrambles over the edge of the pit,
Right.
and Vala comes up behind, and then Isha and Anders is the last up the rope, and you realize that you have all taken, not all, but most of you have taken heavy damage from a trap that is perhaps rigged by good magic,
Mhm.
according to Anders' sensibilities.
So we're back up.
You're back
So,
up, but there's a gaping pit in the middle of
So
this
let's
room.
walk around the gaping pit.
yeah,
I have to pee again.
Me too.
That's what happens when you drink 2 beers.
yeah.
You don't have to explain. We know you're
Anything special with the
You know how I
archway?
am.
So you come around the archway. Are you examining it?
He's going to look at it closely.
Okay.
We'll secret traps.
Okay.
Yeah.
Can you give me a
I'm a fucking asshole. I have
Arcana
traps.
check or an intelligence check?
She
Arcana's
uses her
my better
magic.
if it's one, but let me see.
Anybody with Arcana can roll on this.
Alright.
Nope.
LOL no.
You
Anybody
would.
12.
with
You have
Arcana?
some.
Yeah, everybody has some, right?
No, I definitely don't.
Oh, you
What
mean
is
like
that?
if you have 0?
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah, I
I'm
have
not.
0 actually. I don't have
I'm not
any modifiers.
trained
Alright,
as
I'm
a
gonna roll.
skill.
I'm gonna roll
That was one of those
Garrett
I kinda
die.
just dealt with,
Oh,
one of those
I know
rules.
nothing.
I'll do a
Oh.
check.
Okay.
Oh.
That's a 13.
Manjue's not thinking
13
clearly,
over
having
14?
just been
12.
thrown
12.
into a pit.
12, 13. I'm going to wait till Gina comes back.
12, 13,
I
4.
know.
Yeah, I don't know for that.
You probably stone compass is traps.
Let's go check this one.
There's an inscription above the door.
This music is really getting me
Yeah.
off guard because it sounds like children's voices crying. Sometimes.
You ever watch the Ishi videos? How it should have ended.
I keep thinking it.
They did one
He
for
also would
Aaron
send one
Bates.
comment
They did one
after
for
he calls, probably by
um,
saying,
Last Gen.
I have
Yeah.
to stay.
And their big joke that I loved so much was because they do little scenarios about how the
Let me
movies
know
could
what
possibly end,
Say,
like different scenes
say
that could have really as jokes.
With like
And
two
the scene at the
angles,
end is instead of Admiral Holdo doing the suicide thing,
you wouldn't be the first one.
Akbar survives, and he's in the thing, and he does a comm to the main people, and he's like,
He doesn't see the.
"Do you know what this is?
Yeah.
Do you know what this is?
What happened?
It's a trap!" And then he does the hyperspace thing, and
And
freaking hits them all.
private.
You're all watching it because Anders has noticed there's an
So
inscription above the door, and it says, "May none have cause to re-enter this vile vault, sealed by Lord Borodin in service of the younger gods of the blessed elements in AR 1410."
I mean,
You just look at the archway, look at everyone else. We have cause. And walks
So
through.
you step forward and you can see that immediately there's a corridor leading to the left and a corridor leading to the right.
Sniff that air.
There's always a corridor leading
There's
to the left and a
always a
corridor
corridor
leading to the
Sniff
right.
the air.
Left and to
Just
the
look
right.
the finger.
Yeah.
One option.
I have one more divine sense.
I feel like it's early in the game.
I
No.
I have 5.
Oh, you have 5?
Okay.
I
I
mean, not
also,
that we would.
I'll
know
use
that.
one of mine.
for
Then
the
then-
record, I have clairvoyance too, so I can always use it like in a door,
Oh.
like to see what's beyond a door.
Anders, when he's seeing this, should basically. Whoever has a good sense of direction. It's your turn.
Morgan with the straight.
Morgan always goes straight. Yes.
Ask
Morgan
the
always-
sword.
Unfortunately,
Yes, the sword.
Well, we can't go straight. I was gonna say go straight. We can't go
Morgan's
straight.
soul's not in there anymore. Remember, he escaped.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah.
His soul is flying around burning
With
shit.
Agnes.
No,
Agnes,
he's kicking
yeah.
the shit out of his
Oh, yeah,
dad.
yeah, it's like-
For eternity, it's beating the shit out of him.
You! Fuck!
And
you,
this
wait,
is
why
for
am I
not getting
beating
me
you
that
again?
pony.
Oh, right, you were never there. This is for Father's Day. This is for my birthday. This is for my second birthday. Third birthday.
This is
For my
returning-
unholy communion.
Okay.
This is for mine to me.
Oh, yeah.
So I don't have to roll
Oh my
or
God.
anything to use divine
No,
sense.
No, you
it's
just
60
do.
feet.
You just
Okay,
do
so I'm
you
using
do.
divine sense to try and get a feel for
Something in the next 60 feet.
that.
The
What
60
is
foot
that that you're
radius.
sensing for?
It's the same thing that he's been doing. So
Yeah,
I
like
figure out
I
what
guess
to
it would be
do.
kind of like the concentration of magic on either end, and maybe
Okay.
an idea of which direction would be more pertinent to our mission.
Good
Not
word.
necessarily
Good
safer,
word.
but
Right.
more necessary.
The heebie-jeebiest, if you will.
Probably, yeah.
You get absolutely no heebie-jeebie indication whatsoever,
Mhm.
The heebie-jeebie
You
meter
feel-
is at 0.
but you feel that a left turn will be more beneficial.
Okay.
I think a left turn would be more beneficial.
I love left turns.
I do too.
I fucking hate left turns in a car, though.
Yeah.
You know.
Yes.
Your opinion.
Yes.
Left
Me
or
too.
right? We got left. Actually, everyone give me your opinion, and well, that's the way we'll go.
Oh, we can't go straight.
You know.
Or what direction are you going?
Well, we're getting votes.
Okay.
This isn't how
I
this
trust
works.
Vala.
My daughter.
Okay, 2 votes for left.
It would follow that this place would be an inversion of all things that are holy, so let's go with left turn.
A good
Great.
point.
Any objection?
I have no objection.
Any
I
objection?
have no thought about that.
Left it is.
Who's leading? Give me a marching order.
Well,
Wow, Bala.
Correct me if I'm wrong, but this is what I thought it was going to be. Anders, Isha, Bala,
who's in the back?
me.
Okay.
Majory,
Such
Margaret, and me.
I mean,
Okay.
Bala would be pretty
That's
eager up front,
Yeah.
but if Isha wanted to be in front of her, that's fine.
Yeah.
Who's got a
Wouldn't,
light
argue,
source?
So.
I
Um,
do,
Isha
so I
shield.
think Isha should be.
Oh,
I
actually,
would have used.
second light source, very easy. I keep forgetting that it does this because it's orichalcum. It's
Yep.
going to take out Requiem, and then Requiem's going to basically probably be the most radiant blue it's been in a while.
Yeah, I have my sword.
have
Actually,
an
you light it,
orichalcum
and
short sword
Requiem
as
doesn't
well.
light up.
It doesn't.
No.
Orcs are
Straight.
not close.
Or the
I'm just
You're
gonna
assuming it's
stay
Elder
up
Mother.
front with my shield.
Then I would.
I'm just gonna light a torch because I have 10 of those.
Yeah.
Alright, so put that under the torch marker. As you walk forward, and I assume who's leading again?
Yeah.
Anders?
Anders with
You-
Requiem drawn.
You find
I have-
yourself approaching a chamber that opens into. There is no door. You find yourself staring at a very large sort of pile of It's some sort of
Good.
some sort of escarpment, some sort of pile of dirt.
It's gonna be
Does
a
it smell?
dirt monster.
But it does have a
Spice.
strong odor. There's a distant odor of something having burnt. But you notice as you
It's a
all walk into
sand
this
monster.
chamber, and as Isha's shield and Vala's torch sort of illuminate this sort of 40 by 50 kind of octagonal chamber, there's a large, and you notice it's not random, it's neatly swept. There's a pile of, it looks like it might be sand, it looks like there might be other minerals in there as well, and there is a plaque. There's a plaque sitting sort of half buried in the sand.
What does the half say that's
Can- yeah,
not
can we
buried?
read-
Vala was gonna
Can we read
approach with the
that?
torch, try and light it up to see what it says.
So,
Yeah. Go for
Val-
it.
so who's
man,
looking
yes.
at it? Is everybody looking at it?
No.
No.
Predominantly
Paige
Vala, I
does
think.
not trust this.
Okay,
Well,
so
Vala's
Paige
She's
looks
not
away.
hanging back.
She's not getting super close. She's
Right,
just
I'm not looking
The
away, but I'm
question
hanging
is-
back.
The question is who's trying to read the plaque? It has
Not
already.
me.
It's
Monjoy
Vala.
is not trying
Well,
to read.
Vala's
Vala.
trying to read.
Anders winning because he's going to assume it's in Cossack.
Okay.
Same.
Kajal's not reading it.
No. I'm in the back. I'm hanging out.
I'm just.
Monjoy's not reading it.
Is it just
He's
him?
assuming we got
What
lucky with the
is
first
eating
thing.
right now?
Vala, you notice that the plaque seems to be written in Nordic.
Oh,
She can read that though.
I
so
can
that's
read
fine.
that.
Perfect.
The plaque says, "What is the first good of Earth?"
What's it say, Vala?
What is the first good of Earth?
I'm gonna look down on it, on the plaque.
Okay, you actually notice that the plaque is written in Samaric,
You read Samaric?
That's
and it
Sorry.
says,
Yeah.
"What is the first good of Earth?"
It's written in Nordic. Oh, you're Sumerian.
Salt?
Now
I'm praying for
Read
guidance
light?
because Anders doesn't know what good is in this world anymore.
Well, this is good
The-
of Earth.
the Earth.
Salt,
Salt,
would
salt,
make sense.
salt.
I get no guidance
Salt.
whatsoever.
Salt
And
would
it's
make
the,
sense.
you know, like, community and alliances.
Wouldn't it be light?
Salt.
Of
Earth.
Earth.
Earth, everything comes
Is
from the
Isha
Earth.
examining this, or what is she doing?
We're
The
guessing the riddle.
We're
Guessing
guessing.
what
Right.
it is.
Carbon?
So, as
Two
you
hands.
actually look at it and you say salt, you actually taste a little bit in your mouth, and you actually sort of sense that there's salt dust in the air from the pile of this.
I think
Um,
so.
Salt.
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 In the air.
But it's not pure salt. It's not sea salt. It's very
It's
faint.
just-
Okay, as I say, he's going to smell, see if he can smell sea salt
Give me a perception check.
because Anders being on the ocean for most of his life.
Yeah.
18.
There's a faint amount of salt, same as what Isha's perceiving, but you also smell something burnt.
Something's burning.
It's not
Or has
burning.
burnt.
It's something
Burnt.
has burnt.
Like funeral pyre burns?
Can he be more precise than burnt?
You'd have to get close to it.
He'll get closer and then smell closer.
So you actually sort of lower your nose to it, and you
To mimic it.
reach out, you pick up some of it in your hand, and you look at it close, and you can smell burnt, and you can smell salt, and you can see also little grits of sand. You can see that there's little bits of black, little bits of white, and little bits of brown. It looks to you like charcoal and salt and sand. Different size grains.
Charcoal burned. He'll like let it go. And then take steps back because he's probably like sensing the tension from everyone else. Like might be a monster at any moment now.
What was the quote on the book?
Right, yeah.
Does Kajal look at it?
Yeah, this
It's
one's
it's written in Nordic.
It's a riddle, right?
Near as Kajal
First
can
good-
see. What is the first good of Earth?
What's salt,
Fire.
charcoal,
They're
and sand all at the same time?
they're all representative of different elements, aren't they? Isn't the city big on elements?
That's what I was thinking.
Fire,
Yeah.
sand is water, salt is of the earth.
It's air.
Where is the air?
No, the element. What's represented is from the air. Then we're going with this idea.
Breath.
What we breathe.
He's asking about Earth, so there may probably be an air puzzle, a
Has
water puzzle.
Majway looked at the plaque yet?
Smoke.
Yeah, I guess after Vala reads it, she might.
So
go.
finally,
Salt's gonna be-
Majway's eyes
salt
go
will
over
be
the
there.
plaque, and you see that it is written in Kianese calligraphy, and it says, "What is the first good of Earth?"
How were you able to read that?
I think it is written in whatever language is the home of whoever's reading it.
Magic.
Madry goes over, and it's the last one to
Maybe
read
goes
it.
over, and it's written in the Halfling dialect of Northern Albion.
Wow.
And that's very hyper specific. You are correct.
What is the first good of Earth?
It's salty. Sand all at the same time. It's not life. Life is too broad. You said salt, but it's part of the riddle, it seems. Dust. That's all.
Breath, blood.
I said light, but
What
that's creation in general.
is it? A verbal riddle, or does it need us to give a
It may not even be a riddle, it may just be a reminder.
contribution? Of what is
all in
really
the
precious
background
to
leaning
us.
against the wall.
Yeah.
Sorry, Kierkegaard
Was
here.
that love? Was that
Yeah.
love?
Well, if it needs an offering, what can we offer it? Blood's not the first good.
I'm gonna gently blow on the plaque.
You're gonna blow on the plaque.
Yes, you have.
So
Yeah.
you actually blow, and you notice that the sort of sand level goes down a little bit,
Alright.
uncovers more of it. It's very light, but you notice that the grains all have different sizes and different weights.
I think you're on something with the four elements, though. This is Earth, so it's probably going to ask us what's the first good of water, what's the first good of Earth, what's the first good of fire, or
Right.
something like that, or some puzzle like that.
Salt, coal, sand.
Madry is gonna touch
So
the
each
plaque.
room's
And
probably
it's a part
specific.
of a plaque.
So
isn't
you
it?
touch the
Not
plaque, and
gold,
it's carved marble.
Okay.
stone.
Is there
I'm
anything
gonna
on the
pour
other
it-
side of the room?
I'm gonna pour a drop of my water skin.
So you pour a drop of the water skin, and you notice that there's a sort of flash of light
Mm.
around, and then the water disappears, and the sand comes over it, swallows it up.
So it's living sand.
Mm.
Oh, I forgot I put on makeup.
So it's verbal. So it's probably verbal. It probably can respond. So it's waiting for the right answer. Which water wasn't, unfortunately, the right answer.
So the moment Anders says it's waiting for the right answer, you watch as there's a little sort of pile
Oh,
of
Jesus Christ.
sand comes together, and it rises up like this, and then there's a sort of a little bulb of sand at the top,
Heart
and
emoji.
it comes
Yeah.
forward like this, a little globe of sand. towards you.
Madry has a pumpkin.
Yes.
Am I getting any negative vibes from this thing?
Are you using divine sense?
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess I am. I have one left. This is when I'm
This
using
your
it.
last one.
Yeah.
You get a benevolent sense from this. that
Okay,
this
well
is-
that means it's probably evil. He's not going to say that. That's meta.
Right.
Madry's gonna put her.
I mean,
pumpkin
not if
on
that
it.
magic was meant
Her
to keep
pumpkin?
somebody in.
The whole
Yeah,
pumpkin.
exactly.
Just
So you put a pumpkin in the
A
put
pumpkin.
a pumpkin in the middle of a pile of sand, and it sits there for a minute, and then the sand sort of sinks down,
Why were you
and the
just?
sand comes over it, and it disappears.
Why were you
Okay.
The
carrying a
figure's still
pumpkin?
there.
What's that?
The figure's still there?
Yeah, there's basically a little sort of. It looks almost like an arm, and it's holding a pile of sand, and it's extended to you like that.
He's. I hope I don't die. He's going to put the hand kind of like over the orb of sand,
Right.
just to see if it doesn't, if it reacts in any way to it.
It doesn't.
Then he's going to go like that.
slowly touch it.
Slowly touch it.
And it seems to be solid, the way you'd expect, like wet packed sand. It's
Uh-huh.
not wet, but it's somehow congealing to itself. It's almost like magnetic sand.
Slowly lift it.
Clay.
Or remove it.
So you actually lift it, and the little tendril of
Clay.
sand goes back down, and you're holding a pile of sand.
Is it draining out between his fingers or is
No.
it staying
It's
solid?
staying in his
Kind
hand.
of go. It's not a cabinet like that.
Madry is
It
gonna
wants
say,
to play.
Yeah. Ball. Throw it. Fetch.
Isha's gonna go up to it because she's trying to see if it has different reactions to different people.
Right.
And so she's gonna.
Did you say clay verbally at all?
Yes. She's been talking aloud this whole time.
Clay? I was gonna say it very like
Like trying to
Confused.
direct.
So what does Isha actually say?
Clay.
Like, yeah, nothing happens.
Mandre is
Well-
gonna say to me it's food.
Vala, touch it with your torch, and as you touch it with the torch,
no, don't touch it with the torch.
I'm gonna drop water on it. We'll do a combined.
No,
Captain Planet.
it's so far, so far. This creature
It's a hard
is
sand.
magical sand that we need to figure out what this is.
How do you even know we need to figure it out?
Because why? I said right answer, and it offered me this. Perhaps it's a clue. I think it wants us to solve the puzzle.
Yeah, so maybe the answer to the puzzle is fire, water.
Maybe the answer to the puzzle is don't piss it off.
Well, it associates you with water.
Makes sense.
So
Someone is someone
So
more associated
as you
with fire.
are standing there arguing, you watch as the sand begins to sort of flow, almost as if driven by wind over a dune, up over the plaque, and the plaque disappears down into the sand.
We took
Took
too
too
long.
Took too long.
What happened to my magical sand?
It's still sitting in your hand.
Shit.
Almost as like a reaction to the plaque disappearing, Vala's gonna reach out with the torch, but not touch it. Just
Right.
kind of bring it near the sand to see if anything happens.
Yeah, so you actually can just see this sort of scintillating light playing over the granules of sand, and it's simply illuminated by the torch.
I'm just gonna. Okay, I'm not good at these whole puzzle things. Both as a player
Apparently
and
we
as a
all suck.
character.
Yeah.
So-
Isha, for the record, is not that bad. She
No,
would like to point
Solve
out.
it then.
I would say like at
I mean,
best
Salt
Anders
was
is
a
good at
good
figuring out what it's trying to ask, but not getting the answer. He can figure out the puzzle, but can't figure out the answer. So he knows it's wordplay. He knows it's a verbal response. But he's the
Vala's
piece of
torch goes out.
What about my shield?
It's magically illuminated, so it's independently.
Did we feel any wind or anything?
Yeah, there was sort of wind drifting through the corridor.
Is there a door or something on the other side?
Of the room, no.
So it's just the only thing.
Am I still bleeding from anything?
From the fall?
Yeah.
No.
Okay.
It's all contusions.
First good.
Get that yourself.
Yeah.
If you wanted.
Rock, stone.
There's a slow rumbling in the room,
Oh, Jesus.
and then you watch as the sand sort of begins to disappear. The sand's smaller. It gets the pile's getting smaller and smaller. It's falling into the cracks of the bricks and the floor.
Foundation.
Within seconds, all the sand is gone from the room,
You
except what Anders holds in his hand.
We failed.
There could be more riddles. It could be part of a
And the
greater.
plaque was sitting by itself on the floor.
Well, Anders will put the magical sand right next to the plaque and say, guess we'll go left. Or right, the other way. The other left.
You're rejecting the gift of the sand.
Oh, I didn't earn the gift now, did I?
You don't have to earn gifts. That's the point of gifts. They're freely given.
What?
You. I'm not gonna say it.
The pile of sand begins to roll like a ball over to Isha from Anders.
Oh my god.
I'm gonna accept the gift of sand.
Guys, you
Reminds
will.
me of my homeland.
Could have been something.
Do you pick it up?
Yes.
So Isha bends down, picks up the sand in both hands.
Well, I'd rather have the gift of water. And he's gonna walk the other way.
So you walk down. What's Vala doing with her ignited or her snuffed out torch?
Well, I guess we'll try to light it again.
It doesn't ignite until you get back out into the hallway.
Okay.
Anders is just passing the archway. Give me your marching order up that corridor.
Probably the same.
Yeah.
All right. So your regressive order is the same.
I'll be right back.
Anders first.
I really wanted to know what was going to happen.
I know. I'm just no. I'm really terrible with all
Glass,
that kind of stuff.
lightning.
So then
I'm
Vala,
really bad at the
then
word puzzle, so
Manjue.
even if I
Yeah.
was good at them, I don't even know if Anders
Andrew,
is.
Manjue,
Right.
Kajal.
He's not like a lug, but he's more like I said,
Yeah.
grounded. He's more like I can figure out what we need.
So
to do.
Vala is able to reignite her torch, and as you proceed up this corridor, again you find yourself entering a doorless chamber. This chamber is much larger, and in the center appears to be a body of water.
Can I?
This chamber is some 50 feet wide by 70 feet long. It has these rounded corners. It's partly bricked, partly hewn from natural stone. But you notice the moment you walk in, it is bone-chillingly cold, as
Reminds me of
opposed to the room you just came from. There is a 40-foot span of sort of a body of water, and it appears to be perhaps an underground river. It comes out of one wall through these kind of chipped away caverns and disappears in the other. It's slow moving, and as you stare at it, you can see that there is a strong but slow moving current moving in a circular fashion. And as you stare at it longer and longer, you realize it's almost like a massive whirlpool just turning in the middle of your room. And as you stand there further, you can feel the floor sort of rumbling from the strength of this current.
Bridges.
Is there any plaques or?
No clues on this
No
one.
clues for this one.
We're all
And
gonna
the clue
end
didn't
up
even
going
help
home.
us anyway. Yeah, we suck this.
We're all gonna
Sorry,
be-
y'all.
We're all gonna
Heaven
be trouble.
forbid you ask them to think.
Vala's gonna go to be like a foot away from the edge to try and get a better
So
view of
as
water.
you approach, again, you can see there's this bone-chilling sort of cold coming from this, and you can feel the dampness in the air. You can sort of see where the water is sort of lapping up to the edge here. The water is completely clear, and because it's you and you have a torch in your hand, you can see the water is clear, and you can see down. There's like a depth of water. You can't even see the bottom, but you can see the edges going deeper
Is
and
it
deeper.
whirlpooling or just the
It's slowly turning, but it's deep and it's a very strong current. You can feel a rumble in the cavern from the current.
Get an extra torch.
Yes.
Do you mind losing it?
No.
You're gonna take an unlit torch, place it into the river, and see what happens to it because of the
So you watch as it starts to move in a circular fashion, and then it starts to get faster and faster, and at the center then it starts to simply rotate, and then it goes down.
How long does it
How
take roughly?
hole?
Probably about 20 seconds.
Is there a hole that we can see that it goes into?
Well, you can actually see where the water creates a
Goes
small
down,
hollow
right.
from the whirlpool at the center.
Do you remember the crocodiles? Oh, you wouldn't know.
He
I
wasn't
would turn-
there.
I would turn to
Talking about.
you. Sorry.
Mm-hmm.
Do you remember the crocodiles in the desert?
Crocodiles are in the desert are pretty hard to forget.
How
I
long's the cavern?
wonder if we could swim down to this and pop up somewhere else.
That would be a big chance to take if there's nowhere
How
else
big is
to
the
pop
gap?
Hey, Sand.
It's 40 feet across.
40 feet.
Sand, my friend. Are you able to expand in any way? Make a bridge, a beach? Any tricks up your sleeve?
So
He's just talking to the sand.
you're talking to the sand. Can you give me a wisdom check?
Can you
You're
actually
losing
talk to
your
this-
mind.
Losing your goddamn mind.
So you
Sorry.
actually notice that the sand sort of flattens out in your hand. As you're talking, it just collapses down like that, and it makes a straight line in your palm of your hand, like that.
That's great.
It's sentient.
The sand will make us a bridge.
Will it make us a large enough bridge?
We'll see.
Yeah, but a bridge doesn't
I
necessarily
think
help us.
that's
No, because it could get swept
It
away.
goes to the end. It
is
goes
the
to
bridge
the
it
end.
made.
That's
That's the bridge. I don't think it can make more sand. It only can work with what it has.
well. At least we know the sand can hear us.
This is true.
Which is
The
great.
sand is our friend.
The sand might be able to inform us if we can learn how to speak sand.
I'll work on that.
Well, I could probably figure a way for myself to
So
get across.
as you're
but
standing there contemplating it, as Isha's staring at this, the sand has made a perfectly straight line, and it begins to extend beyond her fingertips.
Oh.
Like this.
but how wide is it?
It's about an inch wide. It's getting longer and longer and longer, but strangely, it's not losing any density.
Uh huh.
Hmm.
Uh huh.
Okay, we'll put it on
That's
the.
what I'm talking about.
Well, now we have a 1-inch bridge that we can tiptoe across.
Son of a bitch.
You know what?
Give it a chance,
But there's
Anders.
nothing across to get to, so I'm not really sure your
I
point.
will
No,
not have you
there is. There's
trash talking my new friend.
there's a shore on the other side.
Yeah, but nothing on the other side. You can't.
Just a door.
No, there isn't. He said doorless room. There is no door.
No,
How?
I didn't say that. I did not say doorless. In fact,
He said
as
doorless
you're
room about the
staring,
other
You
room.
see, there is a door there.
How solid is like the sand that's extended past
It
my?
extends
Sand.
about 2
And it's
feet.
gonna make a
But I
bridge,
mean, does
and
it,
it's making
And
like-
you put your hand on it, and it's solid.
It's solid.
Kind of support
It's
the
only
weight.
1 inch though.
Can you put it on the ground and see what happens?
Yeah, I'll try and
Set it
down and see what happens.
Where do you set it?
Like at my feet.
At your feet?
Yeah,
It simply sits down
It's
like
just-
a stick.
like a stick.
Just down there.
Just chill. Well,
Maybe try moving it closer to the water.
I'm gonna edge it nervously
Do you
closer
want
to
to
the.
kill it by mistake? Water and sand don't mix.
I know. Well, you know,
So what do you do?
It's called beaches.
I'm thinking.
Beaches are exactly the place where water and sand do mix.
Yeah, and sand sinks to the bottom.
Listen, sand persists.
Still the floor.
Anders is going to investigate the walls and see if there's possible to climb on the wall at all.
So, the right or the left side?
This side. Closer.
So you go to the right side, and you can see as you get close that because of the dampness of the room, the walls are extremely slick, and on top of that, there's a green film of slippery algae on them. It looks extremely dangerous to climb.
That's not going to work.
Madry's gonna light her short sword.
Okay.
Did we try? Did somebody say life in that room?
I did.
You did?
I did say life.
Life. We said language.
Okay.
Food.
Okay. So maybe never mind. 'Cause that's
I already
what
sent
I
it.
was just thinking.
I sent a torch in there, and the whirlpool's still hungry.
Well, I was gonna walk back into the other room with the sand because I saw the sand turning into a bridge. So,
Well, yeah,
Obviously
it might
sentient.
reappear.
but
So what does Matry do?
yeah, I think she's actually just gonna go walk back to the
Other
other room.
room.
So about halfway down the corridor, it gets completely dark. Because, you lit your
Is it
sword,
my
yeah.
sword?
So you illuminate it, you come back into the room, and it's empty.
It's still empty, yeah.
Oh, no guidance received.
Okay.
So that's not going to work. Well, depending on the sand bridge, I have one idea, but it's only going to get me across, which is I teleport to the other side. I can teleport 30 feet, so if I jump 10 feet and I teleport in midair, I can get to the other side.
Do we have rope?
And we have a rope, but that won't help if you get sucked into the current.
Yeah, if I do
Yeah.
somehow die.
But
Um,
I mean, we can.
We can make a rope that goes across so that others can use it to get across
Oh, yeah.
after
We
you're
can.
there
We can. At a level. It doesn't have to be.
in the water.
Yeah.
Yeah, I had pittons. We could pitten it to the wall and try to extend it all the way across. But we need you across the first
Yeah.
place.
Would that work? Would that be because it's bonus? Technically, the Misty Step is a bonus action. So if
So
you
what are you
do,
trying to do?
so if I took a running start,
Right.
jumped, I think you said you can get how many feet per?
So you
What was
can...
the exact rule? And I keep forgetting the exact rule.
1 foot per point of strength with a run up, with a 10-foot run.
So if I do a run up, I can jump 20 feet across and then
Right.
teleport halfway through to the other one with the Misty Step.
Your teleport is how far?
30 feet.
30 feet. So you're going to try and jump and then teleport midair to see if you can get across.
But would that work within the context of the
Theoretically.
rules?
Theoretically, it would.
The only problem is how far is the whirlpool out there,
It's at the center.
which is about 20 feet.
Yep.
Which means if I jumped, I'd be right across on top of the whirlpool.
Okay, so tie a rope around your waist. We'll hold on to it. If you fall in, we'll pull you out.
Hopefully.
I feel like there are just.
We can
Better
do
ways.
it at the
Then
end.
come up with one.
I'm trying.
That's plan B. Trust me, I'm not fond of the risks involved with plan B.
I'm gonna touch the tip of the sand friend to the water.
So you push it into the water? Is that what you're
Just the tip.
So you...
You laughed.
So you
Well played.
with your foot or with your hand or what?
With my hand.
With your hand. So you push it forward, and the moment that the sand touches the water, there is a flash of light, and you watch as the sand just gets sucked into the whirlpool. But all of a sudden, a huge plume of sand comes up from the bottom.
Nice.
From the bottom of the whirlpool.
Don't
The
give yourself
whirlpool-
that.
The whirlpool
You
stops.
didn't know.
You tried it.
Sand is brought up from the bottom of the whirlpool, and it becomes this basically a sandbar
Go, 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 go!
Yeah, kept going.
in the middle.
Like,
No
run.
time to celebrate. You can gloat when we're across.
Go, 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 go!
Yeah, I think we're all gonna
So
do that.
you all hasten across this sand dune, and it's soggy. Your feet sink in, but nevertheless, you're all able to get across.
Vala in her armor, like,
So who's first?
Probably Isha should need to vote more.
Isha, yeah.
Vala follows, just like.
So Isha hastens across. Vala follows.
We'll wait for Jen, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can't really go.
We're gonna say Isha follows at the moment that it appears. Vala hastens across. Anders
Jasmine with her.
follows. Manjue does a soggy, sandy step across.
Yeah.
Kajal hurries Mabry across, and at that moment, the sandbar disappears,
Wow.
Thank you, friend.
and the sand is gone, and you were on the other side.
And that's why you accept gifts from friends.
He goes to the door.
So as
No.
we're gonna wait for
She's thinking it though. She's like,
for
Well,
Jen
we're
to
now
come
missing
back.
2 people.
I mean, she's a devotee of Freya.
You notice how all I'm saying is that the thing that like pushed Isha into actually testing this theory was that Anders was willing to
Yeah,
like risk his life.
You
That's
want
all.
to tell
I'm
Jen
saying.
what happened?
Okay, so Anders had a stupid plan,
Uh-huh. Yeah,
It was
I
pretty
was half
dumb.
hearing that.
and Isha decided then and there that she was going to test the sandbar theory, and so she gently nudged it so that it touched the water, and it
The
got
tip
whooshed.
of it.
So there was a moment about just the tip,
Yeah, of course.
and it got whooshed into the water, and then the sandbar came up.
a huge one, and we all crossed.
Alright.
So
And
and
Isha's very
Anders,
smart.
Anders, who's obviously sort of eager, steps up to the door,
Nope, yeah.
and the moment you step up to the door, it opens,
Oh, I walk forward.
and sort of dust falls. You can tell this door has probably never been opened, and you notice that there is a corridor,
And walks through it, just apparently like everything in his life, making sure these things are smarter.
and you notice that in fact there is a corridor
That's why that direction was most
bending to
beneficial
the left.
Oh, yeah.
I need to use the men's.
What
did you say?
I said that's why the left was the most
Most
beneficial to
beneficial.
go to
Which
first,
means
because we needed
somehow
the
I might
sand.
have gotten the right answer.
To go
Because remember, he gave him.
Yeah, the
Right.
answer was to ask the question.
question. Right.
Yeah.
To receive the
Ah.
gift.
Yeah.
So Andrew somehow did solve a puzzle.
We
And
just,
we were
don't-
just-
we
we
just
were-
have no idea how.
Yeah. We can share the credit.
Because I guess the answer was either
When was the hand
it
extended?
was life, because remember he said life, and then they said maybe it's waiting for the right answer,
Right.
and then because I gave the right answer,
Yeah.
boom,
Yeah.
orb sand orb was his mine. And thinking that I got it wrong, that's why he was like, well, I didn't earn this.
Reject
Yeah.
the gift.
Yeah.
And Isha with her like Sumeric hospitality is like, that's rude.
Rude. How dare you? First of all, how dare you?
Who taught you manners?
Yeah. No one, that's the point.
Yes, that's very true.
He had an old catchphrase.
Pirates.
Anytime someone said, why are you doing that?
Pirates.
Pirate. He was a Viking. His
Yeah.
version of hospitality was, hey, you got anything? No? Okay, I'm killing you now.
Yeah. You got a light? Okay, buddy, I'm taking everything you have.
Cool, you got a light? Wait, you got a light? Cool. Now your house is a light.
Now you got an extra big one.
Are you
I'm
sure
gonna
that's not
tell you-
Morgan?
I know, right?
I'm going to tell you something that I remembered so that you can help me remember if you need it. I can instantaneously light a torch or snuff out a torch.
Ooh.
With air
That's
spells.
it.
And also warm or chill
Tell me what you're doing.
inorganic material.
Going around.
So the door opens
Yeah, we're just
and
fucking
Anders
going.
proceeds through. The
Yep.
rest of you follow.
Yep.
So you proceed up the corridor,
Yep.
and when Anders gets to the corner, you see that it's turning left. You round the corner.
I turn left.
The moment you
Because going
round
right
the
would be
corner, there's a blast of intense heat.
Hey.
The temperature difference between one side of the corner and the other is probably at least 30 degrees.
Oh shit.
So I'm sweating.
Yes.
Yes.
Well,
Vala pulls out her pocket handkerchief.
Yeah. Oh,
there-
of course she has a pocket handkerchief.
She has several.
So does Madry.
Anders before walking forward with
Never
this.
leave home without it.
You'll
Her
be
mother's
comfortable.
daughter.
Nobody else will,
Did you say?
because
Yeah.
you'll be comfortable because no one else will. Because desert.
He just called her a hottie. It's fine.
It's fine.
No, he called him a desert dweller.
Madry's right.
Keeps walking. Through
So you
I
notice
need to-
there's a staircase.
Self-preservation.
The staircase is
Her
getting up,
803.
and literally it's getting 10 degrees hotter every 10 feet.
Oh, I
By the
hate
time-
this.
By
Yeah.
the time you get to the foot of that stair,
It's like a volcano?
It's 100 degrees.
He makes that's Vala.
So it's a volcano.
You know what? I'm in the back. No one would notice.
That you hate this.
No, I'm staring at my Ducati's tattoo because I'm getting flashbacks.
Can you do a wisdom check?
That guy.
Um,
Holy fuck! I am so wise today. Another nat 20.
I mean, that's what happens when you die and
So
come
you
back.
look at that tattoo and you remember
More
that,
than
you
once.
remember that dungeon delve into the mummy's chamber, and you remember his arm bursting out of its tomb and sort of grabbing you and wounding you, and you were carrying this life-draining wound for so many days, and then you realize how much you're having to struggle to produce those memories, that they're ebbing away as the minutes pass, and then you begin to sweat because the temperature's gone up 40 degrees.
Let's pick up the pace because I do not
Yeah,
want to
so
forget
you
the
go-
best kill I ever made.
Plus I'm in
There's a stairway going up.
Okay,
Tell us how.
Monjoy is going to chill the stairwell
Okay.
for 1 hour
How are you doing this?
with my elemental attunement.
Elemental attunement. So you actually chill the staircase, and steam starts to come off it because of the conflict with the stone around it.
Okay.
Is Anders still proceeding?
After the stairwell is chilled a little bit, he will nod thank you, and yeah, you keep leading.
So you begin to step up, and you notice that
Probably doing this
your
every once in a while to
feet-
get the steam out of his face. Like,
Yeah, you notice that the heat that had begun to bleed through the stone, through the soles of your boots, is abated, and you're able to
Nice.
sort of walk up without much pain. By the time you get to that top of the staircase, it is 130 degrees, hitting you sort of straight, and yet you can see the stonework is leading you on.
Yep. keeps
So
going.
Monjoy will follow closely
And
behind.
then there is a sort of lurid orange-yellow light that you begin to see coming down the corridor beyond.
Checking you.
Perhaps we should have brought some of the water from the last room.
That's what I
to
was
this
just
room.
thinking.
Like
Why?
we had to bring the sand from the first
First
room
room?
into the room with the water.
Mom, you are so smart.
I'm
I was
gonna
just
hear that
thinking
in the
same
back
thing.
and turn around and
Turn.
go.
Yeah, I'm also going to go and fill my knuckles.
So we hear 25 feet of movement going.
Yep.
35.
Excuse you. He's faster than I
So-
It's
am.
very dangerous
What
so
do
for
you
short
do when you get to
distances.
the
Thank
water's
you
edge?
very much.
Joe?
Filling my water skin
You
with
fill
the
your
water.
water
from
I would
skin.
do the same.
Madry's with you. She
Mhm.
fills her water skin. By the time you hurry back, you can see that Anders is standing at the precipice of a high platform
What?
overlooking a lava-filled chamber.
We've never seen this before in 2 years.
And
Wow.
on
Yeah,
the
this
other
is
side,
new.
there
God
appears
damn.
to be a thin causeway of stone leading to another platform 60 feet across. The heat is intense. You can actually feel
Right.
the burn
Ow.
sort of on you. You're sweating now. And as you look out over this, what strikes you most, in addition to the heat, is the smell of sulfur
Mhm.
in the air.
I'm,
But there are pools of lava vents are spitting sort of drops of lava up, and it's oozing on the floor.
I'm gonna reach out for your water skin before you take it. I'm gonna walk through the ranks and just kind of dip water on everybody in the party.
Okay.
Do we have any extra?
Are you anointing us?
Yeah.
Said sort of.
You're able to
Yeah.
put about a cup and a half on everybody,
Okay.
which is really just basically gets their hair wet.
Okay.
Anyone
My
else
snakes.
have? Did you have any other
Well,
water
they would not
skins?
be
I have a water skin. I didn't fill it down there though.
I mean, at least it's not.
Do you have a water skin full?
I
They
had
use
two, so I used both. And I
Should we
You
just
probably should have poured it directly on the lava because we saw magical sand.
While you're standing there,
Sure.
you've all taken 4 each hit points of heat damage.
All right.
Let's debate at the
Just
bottom of
run.
the stairs.
Sans, let's go
Yeah.
back. Let's go back.
Oh, you mean
We're going back. We're going back.
So you go back down to the foot of the stair where it's a tolerable temperature,
Yeah.
and you notice that you're all coated with this kind of yellow powder, sulfur.
Mm-hmm.
Alright.
We should probably get a water skin and just pour it directly on the lava.
It's just
No.
turned to steam.
Here's the thing: we just saw
Right.
one little pocket of sand turn into a
Yes,
sand
True.
ball.
Let's not disregard it.
So it's a legitimate theory. Someone goes in there, pours one water skin on one side, one water skin on the other side, and we're good.
Okay, I'm gonna fill my water.
And-
Perhaps one on the bridge.
Maybe a third on the bridge, just in case.
And
If that doesn't work,
then we'll at least know that.
then we
that's
have to
not
run
what
through
was.
and hope that we don't die.
Yes.
Okay.
Worth a shot.
It's worked in the last room.
Mhm.
I don't
So
see
what are
a
you
plan.
doing? Explain this to me again.
Okay.
We're gonna take
3
water
of
and
us.
just put it on one little cup and spread it across the bridge. See what happens. The other
Okay.
one goes. I gotta go to the one side of the lava room and see what happens.
Who's doing this?
We haven't decided yet.
Yeah, we have now decided the plan, and then we need the volunteers.
Do we want one person to do it, or should all 3 of us do? 'Cause
3?
people
Because
do it at the
standing
same
in there
time.
for way too long is going to hurt.
Very true.
Yeah.
I'll refill my water skin.
Yeah, we're filming.
Okay, 1, 2. You have a third? Well, actually, I probably have a water skin. I'll be the third person. Fine.
I have a water skin. I was gonna get one too.
I imagine you all have waters.
I
Yeah.
would say,
we
if
all
you
have
have like
water
the
skins.
explorers pack,
So
you got
I
one.
think between you all, you're able to carry about, I'm going to say 4 liters of water.
Okay.
And let's get
Let's walk back.
one. Maybe each person takes 2. Like
Mhm.
this, because we have 6 people.
Right.
So 3. So one person can go on one side. Like I'll do it.
Well,
Empty the water skins into the magna on the one side of the room.
Okay.
Someone else is going to do it on the bridge. The other person is going to do it on the other side of the magma room and see what happens.
Okay. So
Yeah.
you notice that when you throw water to one side or the other of the causeway, there's a plume of steam, but the water is gone
Yeah.
instantaneously.
That's what I thought.
When you throw it on the causeway in front of you, you can see that it sort of washes away a thick sort of layer of sulfur powder that is accumulated, but then it begins to boil and it boils off.
Okay. All right.
So
Yeah.
let's
Then
refill
anyone
those
back.
water skins
Yeah,
for
Yes.
later,
Yeah.
so that we have the water,
Yes, we are refilling them.
Yeah.
Definitely.
and then we're just gonna have to charge through.
Yeah. How long? How big is the
60 feet across.
6 feet across? How wide?
It's 5 feet wide.
I
So one
can-
person at a time.
I can do this chilling elemental attunement, but I can only do. I was mistaken earlier. I can only do 1 pound of material at a time.
Right.
Okay.
So
It's not gonna. It's an
Yeah.
awesome ability, but it's not gonna help in this
Not
big ass room.
scenario.
You've all taken 3 HP damage while you stand.
We're just
Oh, no,
running.
no,
Yeah, we're down. We're
no,
down.
no,
We're
no,
doing
no,
we're
no,
getting
no,
the
we're
water.
getting the water.
Oh no, the people
No,
who've
we
done
did
it
that.
probably
Back
down.
down to refill the
Yeah,
water
they were done.
skins.
Yeah, we want
So
to.
we
we just
refill the water.
lost
I'd say that,
the
that's okay.
4 at
Yeah,
the
just the
beginning,
4.
right?
Okay.
4. Mhm.
Okay.
Let's just run it.
Yeah, let's just.
We
Yeah.
don't really have any other choice, and time is never on our side.
No, it's very true.
Sulfur is not a slick material, is it?
Well, it's granular, so there's the risk of slippage.
Slippage.
Well, we'll just have to move as quickly and as carefully as we can without
No.
burning to death.
No dashing, but
Weird.
Move like sideways. That's the trick. It's a better way to get purchase than going forward. You know, like if you're moving kind of like
That. Yes.
yeah, then it's easier to get purchase and harder for you to slip on surfaces that lack proper friction. And Isha would know this as a gladiator.
Right. Tell me what you're doing.
Okay.
yeah, I guess we'll
She's got
Right.
she's got her shield and sword out. She's ready to put her sword out like on
You're
the
just going first.
yeah. She's gonna take a step.
Are you dashing across?
No,
Okay.
Lord, no.
All right. So tell me how you're moving. It's 60 feet to the other side. Tell me how you're moving.
She's. I think she would take like a full turn, or I mean, barring anything impeding her
Right.
or getting in her way, I think she would just like. Does it get hotter when she moves?
Oh yes.
It gets a lot hotter.
Yeah, actually, yes. Yes, it's incredibly hot.
I don't think she can dash sideways though. Is the issue.
So where is Isha right now?
I'm gonna think actually she might be able to cast a spell
Well, tell me where your position is in the
Yeah.
room.
in the room. She
Yes.
was. Are they in the room yet?
Well, you were.
I
starting
thought you were
across-
about to go across.
Yeah, you were positioning yourself to
Okay,
go
try to-
across.
One more time. Try to get guidance from Sif. Just basically say he basically in every room he's basically said a quiet prayer like Sif.
Right.
Basically, almost in kind of like desperation. Like I want to continue the mission. I need your guidance to
Okay.
continue this. So he's been doing it every single time. And every time I rolled under 50, so I haven't even announced the roll. 31, so nothing probably.
Would it help us or would it hurt us to be completely like soaked through? It would hurt us, I feel like, with the water evaporating to steam.
Yeah.
It would be worse. That would help.
1 second. So let's do a little quick memory. Like I'll do a little memory thing. What happened to the water when we got poured on our head? Did it immediately evaporate or not?
Right.
I'll do a little
You
memory
feel
check.
your head is still wet.
It's still wet.
Yes.
We need to,
We need to
submerge
get
ourselves in the
ourselves
water.
wet.
That's what I was just. We're
Alright.
going. We're getting there.
Alright.
Okay.
Yeah, and I rolled a
Alright.
16, so it's
We
still
need-
wet. So
We
yeah.
need to submerge ourselves in the water.
So go back to the room. We're all going to the
We'll
room.
all go back to the water.
Have I incurred any damage as I was standing at the foot of the
Yeah,
bridge?
you have actually.
Okay.
You take 6 points damage.
Grab hold of the wall, dip in, pull back up. I'm
Right.
probably fucking heavy as shit because I'm in armor.
Actually, you notice the whirlpool's gone. It's still water.
So
It's
just water.
still
It's just
water.
the dunes submerged.
Oh,
So
that makes
so-
sense.
Yeah.
Heave out. Now
Right.
I'm
I'm
covered in
taking-
wet.
yeah.
I'm covered in the wet.
So
Yeah.
you're completely wet.
Taking
You're
my-
completely
my
wet.
pot,
The rest of
just-
you sort of you bend down. You throw the water over
I have a
yourself.
pot.
I mean, Vala will
You can
go
use
for
my
a
iron
dip.
pot.
Yeah.
Vala will go for a dip.
Yeah.
That's worth it, she thinks.
You
Anders would do the same
return.
thing.
You return to the fire chasm.
I
Yeah.
take off my pack before.
Yeah,
I
she's
get-
gonna have to take off all her
Right.
armor, put
And
her
then-
armor back on.
Okay.
Well, she's gonna submerge her armor also, but like
Okay.
that's gonna be a separate thing.
That takes a long
Yeah, it's a long
Yeah.
time if you're
So
wearing
10
late.
minutes later,
I'm
What
just
she
taking
has to
off my
do, she's
pack,
not gonna have her armor
anything else.
steaming on her skin.
sopping wet, you begin to
Yeah.
ascend the stairs again,
Mm-hmm.
Uh-huh.
I don't
and
have
your
armor
bodies
anyway.
immediately start to steam.
Yes, but
But the
Or actually,
water
no,
was
she
so
doesn't have to do
cold.
that. She's not wearing metal. Never mind.
The water was so cold that it's that you don't feel the heat as much.
all right.
Okay, so let's go.
Let's go.
What's your order across?
I would probably say Anders will lead,
Okay.
but I'm going to have a little reaction that if anytime I feel like I'm going to slip, I'm going to try to Misty step to the other side immediately so I don't fall
Okay.
into magma.
Yeah.
Give me if you're taking the dash action across.
I'm not going to dash. He's going to walk briskly.
Yeah.
He's not
Yeah.
dashing.
She's just not
Yeah.
that.
He doesn't want to
Everybody
actually
is.
slip and fall,
None
Okay.
of that
but he's
matters.
saying like basically for whatever reason, if he does slip and fall, like he's going to take each advice and kind of slide forward, but he like misses steps.
It's
Right.
not. It's not that you're sliding. It's
But-
just that you're walking
So-
like
Yeah.
this way
Yeah.
instead of
Yeah.
forward.
Okay.
head
So
on.
Anders is doing his best to kind of walk in a kind of balanced and orderly way.
Yeah.
Sideways.
Probably about 20-25 feet in, you begin to notice that he's starting to steam. About halfway across, you notice that the water has boiled off him.
Mhm.
His hair is now kind of standing up. It's beginning to get singed. You've taken 11 points fire damage
You
halfway
gotta move
across.
faster.
Okay.
You gotta just fucking run.
Then he's going to start picking up the pace once he gets damaged.
So you are actually having to because you're being burnt.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And when you get to the other side, you've taken another 5 points of fire
So I
damage.
took 16.
Good grief.
So it's
Yeah.
But you have arrived at the other side.
He's going to go.
You find yourself, or you're feeling the steam burns on yourself so badly that you find yourself scampering almost
yeah.
blindly down this staircase and around the corner.
Yeah.
Because you've taken 16 points
Yep,
damage.
16.
She's doing the same.
Are you fucking running?
No,
Dashing?
she's not dashing.
No.
She's doing what Anders did.
So the same thing
Taking
happens.
damage,
About
yeah.
20 feet in, you start to steam. About 30
Like
feet in,
poor
you start
snakes.
to smoke. You take 6 points fire damage. You break into a run. When you arrive on the other side, you have 6 more points damage, and you end up literally coming right up, colliding right behind Anders around the corner. And you're both hot and wet.
So now that so we have the DM's approval now.
Yes.
Who's next?
Major just licked the pencil.
Vala's gonna start across, but she's gonna have her water skin in her hand.
Okay.
And at about the 20-foot mark, she's gonna just splash herself in the face. Halfway, she's gonna do it again, and then she's gonna run the rest of the way.
All right. This affects your concentration. Can I have a dex check,
Oh
please?
no.
So you know, he was saying, we're all went in the wrong way.
Okay, well I just
Does
want
he say that?
Mm-hmm.
Oh my god, Major is so anxious right
We're all
now!
went in the wrong way.
now that really affects my concentration.
You hear
You
it
didn't
echo.
hear that.
No, you hear it echo.
16.
16. You take 2 points damage.
Oh, nice.
Having doused yourself.
Okay.
But again, feeling the burns on you, you have to break into a run, and you take 2 more hit points
Okay.
when you
That's not bad.
when you arrive, and you literally come sliding
I
around
am
the
at
corner
2
as
out of
fast as you
70.
can.
So I'm gonna need to heal myself.
I'm gonna need to
Oh, am I interrupting something?
What the rest of you doing?
They're out of breath
um,
too.
You are next in the order.
She
Okay.
is too, though.
I'm gonna run.
Just straight up run.
Yeah.
You're a bit late.
So Manjue breaks into a run, and you notice she doesn't start steaming until she's about 40 feet across. She
We had
doesn't
a nice
start
exercise.
smoking until she's all the way across, and she takes 1 point heat damage.
Yes!
She comes galloping
quick,
around the
though.
corner. It's a
It's
question
not something you should be
of
bragging about.
speed.
Speed.
Yes.
Bridge.
Ollie took
Who's
1 point
next?
damage.
Not even-
done.
Oh,
It's
two on
done.
the other
Not even
side.
looking at each other.
Yeah.
So
Run.
can you dash 60 feet in one
If it
turn?
was-
I don't
I
think you
cannot.
can. I don't think you can.
I cannot, so I... Oh shit, I don't know what my dash is. I have 25
Some
speed.
50.
Yeah,
So
so
50.
you can get in one turn. You can get to 5, 10,
But you
20,
have
30,
seen,
40, 50.
Mhm.
In
Bala,
one
so you
turn,
could be dumping water on yourself
You
too.
take 4 points heat damage,
Mm-hmm.
and then you have to take another turn.
Mhm.
And that span of time,
If I'm pouring water on myself.
you take. If you pour water,
If I'm pouring water on myself.
can I have a dex check,
Yes.
please? It's affecting your concentration.
I am on the other side though.
No, you're not there
No,
yet.
not there yet.
It's
Okay.
now the beginning of a different turn.
I'm gonna re-roll using lucky.
Yeah, good call.
That's right. Where am I?
Oh yeah, that heat.
Okay.
That's
I
falling
should have
apart.
put you on my back and carried you.
13.
13. You take 5 points damage,
Alright, I'll take it.
and you watch as Madry comes steaming around the corner.
Nice.
What?
Alright.
Kajal is standing alone.
35 feet of movement.
Carried you across.
Before running across, I think he would say something like, "This is not Ragnarok. Insert, you don't get to take me." And he's just gonna run across.
And how far do you get with your?
Well, 30. Well, a dash is 7. My dash is 70.
You're there.
Whoa.
You're there.
So
You're there.
Nice.
You take 3 points damage. By this point, Anders and Isha and Vala
Making
have
her out
proceeded
around the
up
corner.
this corridor, and they
Yep.
are standing at the bottom of a staircase. And it is cool, and it is dry, and you're smoking and steaming and stunned.
Smoking.
And Vala is staring up into an abyss of darkness and holding up her torch. And what she sees
Wind.
is a staircase going up 60 sheer feet.
Oh my god.
Oh, this is like some Indiana Jones. Leap of faith. Can't see the way
Oh
across.
shit.
A staircase leading up into the darkness.
Well, is there any? So it's just.
It's a natural staircase for the first 50 feet, and then you can see just as the darkness begins to set in. What's the radius on a torch? I think it's 60 feet.
Mm-hmm.
Then it appears to be bricked staircase.
Hmm.
You can't quite see the top.
There's no wall or anything like that.
There's no wall. You cannot see the ground beneath you or the walls around you. It's like Moria. It's just a
Yeah.
staircase.
I was just gonna say, it looks
Suspended.
just like one.
This
No
is-
railings. Who built this place?
Somebody who was not thinking about safety standards
Mhm.
whatsoever.
What's
This place is definitely not up to code.
No.
Yeah. No.
So, I think the rope tying strategy might be useful here.
Can you,
I did this once.
Can you even tell
Did you?
though that they're disconnected?
No, we probably can't.
So,
Yeah.
Captain Experience.
Announces
But
to the group.
if we
What did
have
you do?
someone at the front tied to a rope and then we all move along the rope, it's less likely that we'll get.
Again, though, can you even see that far? Like, if without having climbed.
Fair.
No, it's just the idea
I
that.
think the torch.
No, it's the
Meta-
idea-
that-
just
yeah,
metagaming
Just,
it.
I'm just asking
No.
if there's.
Right, like
nothing. You
the
can't
there's
see
nothing.
anything.
Right, so there's a possibility of us like falling over
You're
Because
to
just
the
grateful
side.
for the cool air.
Yeah.
Because
So
of the
what?
lack of
So that's
railing.
what
Okay.
basically Anders was trying to establish is like, okay, well, we don't want anyone falling off
Right.
into
Yeah.
the horrible, horrible abyss.
Right.
Okay.
So the best way to ensure that is
Ropes.
good old rope
Okay.
ways,
Okay.
rope tying.
I thought you were talking about getting
Like the little
across
kids holding
Oh no
onto
no
the
no
rope
no.
from
Not at
the
all.
staircase
Yeah,
to the
you
other
can't see
staircase.
Yeah,
This
you
is
can't
just
see
we're
We can't, yeah.
elephanting to.
So
the
you
little
should
kids
send.
holding onto the rope.
We should
Yeah.
send two people out just to scout out, see what's up first, and then
Yeah.
come back, report, and then do it.
Okay.
So far, thinking these problems through has been much better than running into them headlong.
Yes.
True.
Except for that last one.
Yeah.
Except for that last one.
Except for the last one.
So 2 for 1.
So, I'll go. Who wants to come with me and scout?
I'll come.
Okay. I'll probably tie some
Yeah,
ropes to each
Paula's
other.
gonna hand
So
the.
let me get this straight. So
What-
Anders
do you
and
have, like, a
Manjway
weapon
have
I
tied a
can
rope between them,
Light.
Yeah.
and they're
my
slowly
hand.
climbing
Paula's
up.
just gonna
Yeah.
hand
I have
Okay.
my auric
Just so in
compass.
case either she falls or I fall, the other one
It's
can.
not
Can
glowing.
Can one of you give me a
It's not
dex
going.
check with
It's not
advantage?
going.
Please?
But I can light it.
What's your dex bonus?
Whatever weapon you have, I can.
My
just
dex?
Yeah.
Hold on. Always remember where that is. Oh, thank you. 4.
Okay, roll with advantage. You have the better
Roll
one.
with dex with advantage.
Because mine's only plus
Yes,
2.
roll. Roll, baby, roll.
I will help. She can lead.
And I helped.
Okay, so 21.
21. So both Anders and Manjway, without much difficulty, are able to ascend to the very top of this 60-foot staircase, and around you is the kind of windy abyss of a massive cavern. But you get to a top, and there's a 10 by 10 platform. In front of you is some kind of strange chest of wood and metal sitting right on the edge. And as you shine your torch, one of you has a torch?
We probably would have gone for it. Yeah.
So I'm going to say that Anders had the good sense to light a torch. You can see there is another precipice 40 feet away.
40 feet. Damn it, so I can't touch anymore.
So Manjoy is going to bend down and see if she can open the box.
Can you give me an intelligence check or an investigation check?
Yes.
Bless you.
Parallel boxes.
9.
9. So you can see that this wooden chest is bound with metal sort of bindings. It has a hinged top. This much is obvious. As you open it, you can see that inside there appears to be a kind of a ladle or a scoop of some kind. The hinges are reinforced, far stronger than a chest like this would ever actually need. You notice there's a hole. The chest is otherwise empty, but there is a hole in the side of the chest, right near the floor of the chest, in one of the sides.
A hole.
Hole.
And in the bottom of the chest is a pair of Kianese characters. And to your recollection, those characters spell out the words fire medicine.
Fire medicine?
Yes. Hung Yao.
What do you say?
It's weird. Are you looking in? the
He would
chest
look
with
after
me?
He
Okay.
because remember it's kind of a tight fit, so he's fine. He's
You're right next to it, so you notice
Oh,
that
okay,
she has
then I'll look
opened
into
this chest, this wooden chest with metal bindings, has the reinforced hinges, and as she opens it, you see this large sort of ladle in the bottom of it, but you can also see from the light of your torch there's a little round hole in one of the sides of the box. In the bottom, you see there is a Nordic inscription, and the Nordic inscription to you reads Greek fire,
There's paper towels right there on the counter in front of the thing.
Hellenic
So just
fire.
it's wrapped in plastic.
Someone needs to. Someone needs to tell Isha.
What do you? I'm reading Hellenic fire.
Mine says fire medicine.
Fire. Is it Hellenic fire?
Yes.
Okay, well, this is out of my element. Pun.
Boots. Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. It's a little bit of Morgan.
There's another chest on the other side.
No, it's
I thought you said the other side.
empty.
There, you can see there's
The
another
platform on the other
that's-
side.
Oh, platform. Okay. Let's send two new people up here. Maybe they'll get different things.
What
Someone
the thing
that
say?
speaks different tongues than we do.
Fire
Fire
medicine.
medicine. Hellenic
So-
fire.
Maybe Kajal, he might get Dwarvish. That might be different. Major would get whatever she speaks.
Halfling.
Isha would get whatever she speaks.
Okay.
Sumarik.
He doesn't. He doesn't recall.
Philistine.
So he would go. We would go. We're gonna go down
Right.
carefully.
Okay.
There's a chest up there.
Mm-hmm.
Basically another plaque, another puzzle.
Mm.
I love puzzles. I'm gonna go with them.
And if you opened up the chest, assuming we closed it, or it closes on its own,
Mhm.
you're gonna read characters.
Mm-hmm.
I got Hellenic fire. She got fire medicine.
Hellenic fire was something used by ships to make on ships to make explosions. My mother's an apothecary. She knows these things.
Marjorie, can you do an intelligence check?
I knew it was like a bad weapon
It's like
thing.
a
So set the chest on fire.
21.
It's, you know, like the
So
thing where
at
they,
the
like,
moment
the
that
trail
Isha
of
mentions
gunpowder?
the idea of explosion,
yeah.
you reminded of something you learned in the monasteries in Kiana, that fire medicine is a term
Yeah,
from
that's one.
Kianese alchemy, that they mix certain powders together and make an explosive concoction.
Yeah.
That's basically what fire medicine is.
Uh-huh.
It's the mixing of different powders to make an explosion.
Right.
And there was a ladle or something in there.
Yes.
So we have to
That-
make this fire
that-
in the chest. It would explode, and then maybe something would be revealed.
The sulfur powder in the other room.
Ah.
But we used
Oh.
that.
Are we
It's
still covered in some of it?
Yeah, we
Yeah.
have to still be covered.
Covered.
It has to have like
Did
stuck
it accumulate?
to us.
The sulfuric
Sulfur.
powder, has it
It was
accumulated on
everywhere.
us?
It was everywhere.
Okay. Is it any on us?
Yeah, very little.
Okay.
This is actually
Sulfur is one of the components.
Mhm.
Absolutely.
So
What are the other
perhaps-
components?
Charcoal sand, I'm assuming.
We don't have
Might have
one.
used that.
Salt.
well, if we,
So we
I have a tinder box. Perhaps we can use.
Anyone have
parts of it.
Rations. There's
That's
salt
what I say,
in my
Because they didn't
rations.
have rations. They're usually preserved with salt.
I have
Charcoal is the
12
easiest to
spices.
make.
Ooh, 12.
I'm gonna do.
Should we? Should.
What'd you spill there?
Water.
No big deal. No drama.
So we have the sulfur. We probably can get the charcoal easily enough.
Do you think it would be
Maybe salt.
beneficial for the rest of us to go up there? Perhaps what it says to
Perhaps,
us will give us
whatever
other
it is in
clues
your
as to what
story.
else is.
Yes.
That's what I
Sit
was
it.
thinking originally.
Okay.
I'm gonna try. Isha's gonna go up
Anyone
there
who
to see
speaks
if
a
it
different
says
language.
I'll
anything
go.
other than Hellenic fire to
I'll
her,
go up
but
with you.
I feel like
I
Hellenic
think
fire is what it
Kajal
is.
should definitely go up there. Dwarves.
So what?
So when Kajal gets to the top, and how many of you are up here now?
No.
Oh.
We're being smart about this.
Yeah.
Two at a time.
Two at a time.
So
Two at a
two
time.
at a time. So when I'm going to say Majue and Kajal switch out,
Wait. Yeah.
Kajal looks down into the bottom of the chest and sees Dwarvish runes. And the Dwarvish runes say splitting fire. And underneath it says stone splitter.
Nordlinger.
No, my.
Okay.
So,
So, I'm supposed to smash whatever we mix together. I think.
So he's gonna
Maybe
roll back.
Nisha's gonna go.
I think I'm the
Will
catalyst.
will we
Yeah,
go up in
Isha's-
R2?
So I mean, Major.
I like
Unless
this
it just
reverse
unless
Tower
it
of
just
Babel
means
thing.
that
Yeah,
the
right.
explosion is what splits stone.
We're the last two of
Yeah,
us.
so
Yeah.
Major and Isha
Or,
will
well,
go together.
Adri and Isha are gonna go up.
So Madri and Isha goes up. Madri doesn't see anything written in the bottom of the
I have
chest.
a feeling.
this is knowledge that
Yep.
the halflings are not aware of.
I have a feeling.
But to Isha, it says Hellenic fire.
Okay, that's what I thought.
So you have to mix it in the box.
Well,
The ladle.
I have some
It's the whole
apothecary
amount.
knowledge. It's not the same as alchemical knowledge, but it's something.
But I know
I
anything
have
of it from
alchemist
all the
supplies.
fighting I've done.
You
I'm
do?
sure
You have
you've
alchemist
heard of
supplies.
Hellenic
Alchemist
fire.
supplies?
I
That
almost
makes
forgot.
sense.
Alchemist
Manjway, you
supplies.
and
I
I
have
should be.
alchemist supplies.
Okay.
I don't know what's in there.
You and I
Oh,
We're
should.
about
okay.
to find out.
You and
Okay.
I should help each other, and we should be the ones. to
All
do
right.
this.
So give me while you're accessing your alchemist supplies, give me an intelligence check.
Me?
Yes.
Go, girl.
And what do I do?
What happened?
Oh,
That was not level.
roll on the table.
Okay, alright. Well,
There's,
no,
there's
I
no
just-
good
it's not
spot on the
insane
table.
zone.
Here,
Good spot.
roll on this
But
table.
I don't roll if it's like this. That's
Yeah.
what happened at fill in, so I'm not doing that. So that one was the 21.
21.
Wow. Okay.
Okay.
So you actually notice in your alchemist's pack there is a series of substances and chemicals, but there's actually a manual. And the manual,
Always read the
there is a
instructions.
page that talks about fire medicine,
Hell yes.
which is known in the West as Hellenic fire,
So Manjway very quietly goes,
and it
everyone?
consists of
Yes.
charcoal, saltpeter, and sulfur,
Okay.
Which we can make.
So Manjway in her quiet
and
way
it's
goes,
quote unquote combustible.
Yes.
she goes, everyone? Everyone? Everyone.
Mhm.
Yes. I have instructions for Hellenic fire.
Well,
That's excellent.
Says that there is charcoal,
treat
sulfur, and saltpeter.
Saltpeter.
And saltpeter.
Well, it's a good thing it's not Salt John.
Oh,
God. Okay, well, we're gonna have to homebrew the salt a little bit, but we can get the rest of it going pretty much.
Well, don't
I
you have those
cooked-
components?
yeah, I
Yeah,
would say.
it's a kit.
It's an
I have
alchemy.
Oh,
alchemy
cooked
kit.
utensils. Wouldn't I
I don't
have?
think it came with it.
Would I have salt?
Or would the alchemy?
Wait, wouldn't the
So,
alchemy kit
I'm
have
gonna get Isha or Manjway to roll an intelligence check with advantage.
Okay, you want to do it?
Who's doing better,
Modifiers.
Okay.
Yeah, who has a better mom?
Yeah, I have a 3. What do you
Nat
think?
20. One was a 1 and one was a nat 20.
So,
It's like earlier.
so
It is.
Isha and Manjway working together realize that you can produce charcoal by scraping Vala's torch.
Yeah.
Sulfur can be scraped from the floor at the top of the staircase
Right.
back here.
Yeah.
Right.
Saltpeter was in fact the substance that was in the dune, the white powder in the dune, but it is included in your alchemist.
Yeah.
There you go. Okay.
That would be something that would definitely be in there.
I have saltpeter.
You mix all this together in the bottom of the chest with the ladle.
What are we supposed to
And
do?
while you're doing that, you're reminded that there's a small hole
Yep.
inside the chest.
Right.
Stick a torch in there, probably.
Oh.
Or,
Light it
but,
and you run.
yeah, but like,
No, I think he might have been right. Like you use explosions to split stone.
That might
Yeah,
just
that's
be
what
the
I think.
word.
I don't think it
It's
had
not
anything to
split.
do
It just
It's not
happened to
you.
be-
It's
okay,
just
okay.
what
it's just what it does.
the
Okay.
dwarves call it.
They
So,
have
yeah.
multiple names for that kind of an explosion.
True.
Because they
Yeah,
use
so we
much
stick a torch
silver.
in it and make a run for it.
I
A torch
I
or,
have
or
torches.
string.
Oh, like a fuse.
Yeah.
Fuse.
Yes.
We have to make
If
a.
there's a small hole, I don't think a torch would fit. So the fuse.
About 2 inches across.
Yeah,
Just
just
across
the
Unless
fuse
we
makes
have
it.
to-
fuse.
We have to
We
make
could
a
use
fuse.
rope and light it.
Yeah.
You can light rope.
I have rope.
Rope.
We
I
have
have
rope for
pimpin'
days.
rope.
Yeah, we do. But
Wait,
what do we
how bad is
use?
the wind?
It's not that bad.
No.
Okay. Just
What
making
What
sure
do
the
we
wind
use
wouldn't.
to douse the rope in? Do we need?
I always carry sacramental wine.
You don't need
You don't
to
need.
douse
Yeah.
it because I can automatically ignite it with elemental attunement.
Perfect. Yeah, but does the lightning slow it down or make it faster? I always forget. But either way, yes.
You can.
Anyone who has a torch
Wait,
also
you
has
said
oil.
earlier you could just easily instantly.
Just instantaneous.
So we can stick part of a
Oh.
torch in there,
Wait,
and you go boom.
What's the wait,
We want to be further away.
I would say, what's your distance?
Yeah, what's the distance on that skill?
We
It's not asking you asking in a true sense. How far
Yeah.
away could you be
We-
and still do that?
would
I
like
don't
to
even- I don't
be
even use it to
at
do
the
that.
bottom of the stairs
Yes.
using a long line of rope so we
Okay.
can duck and cover.
True.
Okay.
Okay. Okay.
Alright, hold on.
So let me see if I have this
Elemental
right.
attunement.
Hold on.
That doesn't. I don't. That's
Alright, so instantaneous. It doesn't
that's what we
give
do.
a distance. It just says instantaneously light or snuff out a candle, a torch, or a small campfire.
No.
Okay.
And then it still has. That means it still has to travel up the thing and burn. So anybody who has a torch also has torch oil. That's like
Right.
part of the package
Okay.
because you can't light a torch without the torch oil. Otherwise, it just
So
like
tell me exactly what you're pointing at.
Well,
Yes,
it's
we're
already
making
fitted.
a.
we're trying to
Dynamite
think of
fuse.
making.
So
a
you have
fuse.
Trying to
mixed
make a
together
fuse.
what we today would know as gunpowder
Gunpowder.
in this chest, and
Yes.
you've made a long rope fuse.
We're thinking of doing
I
it.
don't
We're-
know that you have to if you can fit the torch in there because it
It's
doesn't
a 2-inch
give
thing. You cannot get the
You
torch.
You
can't.
can't fit the torch in there.
So wait, but beyond it, so there's just like a cavernous space. Is there like a wall? Is there?
There's nothing.
There's nothing.
Okay, so we have a rope.
They're fucking with us. This shit's gonna blow up, and I'm never gonna cross it all.
That's what I'm like. Are we supposed to throw it off? Like, it makes no sense for it to just blow up there and do something that we need it to do.
Well, will we? I guess we're aware that this is gonna explode.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
we
like,
should.
hello.
Yes,
Module.
Yeah,
should.
their
Yes.
knowledge tells them it'll blow up.
Right.
We have to do something with this box. The fact of the matter is, every single puzzle up until now has taken one thing from one room which we solved.
Right.
Use that
Yeah.
element to
We're
conquer
using
the other
sulfur.
We're
elements.
using this all.
Land conquered water, water conquered fire,
Right.
fire conquers air.
Yeah. My only fear is that if
We-
we're not up there, that whatever happens kind of is going to need us to be immediately present.
Yeah,
I'm
but
all
we-
for taking a leap of faith, but not when it involves blowing myself up.
Yeah, here's the thing.
Alright.
If we're getting blown up, whatever, he's trying to use it as a rocket pad to the other side.
That's
Yeah.
what I was imagining.
Or is it going to cause a cave in, which would like create
Wait.
a bridge? Like I
Wait.
don't know, man. Yeah. We're waiting.
Unless there's a way for it to project us.
Yeah,
Right.
but and not be incinerated. That's a terrible plan.
How about we blow it up from a distance first, and if that doesn't work, we try again.
But it'd be gone.
Right, it might have
We could
been
have,
obliterated.
yeah, obliterated the entire staircase.
That's
Or
kind of,
Well-
just the box.
Yeah, but if
doesn't
it
work
does do
anymore.
that, then we'll be alive.
Yeah, that's fair.
Let's
mean,
think about. Think
I
about
get
this.
I have another
Wait,
plan B.
Real quick. Let's think about this. First room. It needed us to solve the problem, right?
Mhm.
Second room, it didn't need us. We needed the sand.
Yeah.
Right.
Third room, it needed us because you had to put the water on ourselves to get across. Fourth room, it does not need us anymore. If there is a pattern, we are not required for this part to work. I think being far away from it and not blowing up like one of Morgan's fucking victims is a good plan.
Yeah, I mean, I would like to be as far away from this thing as possible.
Worst case, I can try to teleport and rope. You can climb the way on there. I can anchor.
Alright.
Let's
Why
just
don't we
stand far
try
away
and
and
blow
blow
this
this
thing
thing
up with our original.
I'd rather play it safe.
But I feel
We're
like
all
do-
about
but
to
I-
be deleted in
But
it.
I feel like, do we need a long fuse? If you can just cast that spell, we can just do a
Yeah.
short one up there and we can go to the bottom of the steps.
I
and we
can
go-
only
Which-
cast it on a torch, a campfire,
Oh,
or
shit. Okay.
unless we're going
Does
to
anyone have-
literally
Well, that's the scope.
interpret
That's
that.
the size of it. That's the scope of it.
Okay, well then
so-
could I cast it on a piece
Yes.
of rope?
Okay.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So
Okay.
just short fuse, and we go to the bottom of the stairs.
So how far down? So everyone goes to the bottom.
Yeah.
Assuming
Yeah.
that
Monjway,
Monjway is
Where does Monjway?
I don't have to be within a certain distance. It doesn't
Yeah,
say
I'm
that.
gonna say we're about to go into like some Night Minotaur
It just
territory.
says-
There's no range on it.
Nope.
There's no declared
Okay.
range. So what's your
So I'm gonna
interpretation?
Yeah,
say
so
sight.
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 I'm
Sight.
going to say sight. So I'm going to say she goes to here,
I
Okay.
would have said touch.
and she, using her elemental abilities, just over the lip of the, she's able to light the small fuse that you make,
Okay.
You gotta run.
Mhm.
and there is an explosion,
Okay.
and you watch as the lid blows off the chest
Mhm.
and flies through the air, and as it does, you realize that in fact there is rope concealed inside the chest. And it
Nice.
is blown across the
We
edge.
figured it
And
out!
I was hoping.
I'm
there's
so
a
proud
rope
of us.
span
Yes.
right across. the-
Nice.
I'm glad
So-
we went with our first instinct to do
So
the
it
crazy
goes
fucking
across,
stupid thing.
and it actually falls over the edge, but the rope
like
is
weighted.
caught. It's weighted down.
Nice.
So it's a tight rope.
Yes.
Oh, I love those! I was in the circus!
Well, at least one of us will get across.
Yeah.
All right.
So you all
Monjway-
scamper back
Monjway
up.
is stoked, so she's going first.
Just
up
like
the
that
stairs.
fire.
She is stoked.
Monjway.
Boots.
Whoops.
I'm dead.
Give me your dex check or acrobatics check or athletics check.
Oh,
if you
okay.
can
Whatever
cross.
works best. I'm gonna fail.
I'm gonna fail.
So okay. I
Oh,
have luck
shit.
if I need it. All right, I'm gonna use my luck.
Is there anyone who can we steady the rope on the other
Yeah, I
end?
will.
It's actually caught in.
Okay,
It's
so
caught
there's-
in a
What's
crack.
the rope made of?
It's made of really tightly woven hemp.
All
Wait,
right.
why don't we just make our way across by...
Am I using my dex to
You
get
know.
across?
You tell
Or
me
just a
exactly how
dash
you're
of
getting
it.
across. It's simply a tightrope, as
Okay,
you
alright.
should recognize.
One tight
So
rope.
my
Yeah,
the-
that's fine.
Dex
so what you do
or
is
what?
you hook your feet
Acrobatics?
over
Or
and your
acrobatics
arms
or
over and
athletics.
then you shimmy over.
So 17. I forgot my acrobatics were awesome.
Hell yeah.
That's your
So-
check?
17 is my check.
Are you trying to walk the tightrope or going hand over hand underneath it?
Hand over hand.
So you simply swing down and you find it's very, very tight. It's almost like it was intentionally designed to catch that. And you're able to pull yourself up on the other side.
Okay.
And you see, there's just you can see it dimly in the light, but there's another staircase leading down.
Okay. Was it? We weren't able to see that before.
No.
So I'll shout across to them. There's another staircase going down over here.
Excellent. That means we have a place to go.
Cool.
Alright.
Yeah.
Alright, who's next?
I'm gonna take my time. I'm gonna shimmy over.
So give me your dex,
Acrobatics.
acrobatics or
Let me
athletics
use
check.
my Acrobatics. What is my modifier? Where are you? That's
not-
the wrong character.
Yeah,
sheet.
that's so
Where's
the
the
wrong
bonus
character
plus
sheet.
I'm alive.
Plus 5 for
You're
strength.
here.
Yeah, you're strong.
I am here. Alright. Oh, it's a 6.
I don't
Okay.
think I get this one's from-
Nat 20 again.
Wow.
Nat 20.
Shit.
Holy shit.
So Isha swings
surprising.
down and seeing how tight the rope is and having some experience with this,
She's just gonna walk it.
then hooks her knee back over and stands up on it
Yeah.
and walks the
I was
rest
like,
of the way
never mind, I'm
across.
just
Yeah, like I'm not gonna play this safe. I'm gonna
And you
show
actually
off.
see that there's, from the light of your shield, you can see that there's a staircase that winds a long way down. And to make room, Majue and Isha go down a few steps. Who's next?
That's great.
I rolled a 26.
So you're able to go hand over hand
Yeah.
underneath
Hand over hand.
Okay.
and make it across.
I said I was going to take this roll no matter what because I was getting really bad rolls, but I took this one no matter what. 27.
So
Whoa.
you were able to
You
make it
fly.
hand over hand.
Yeah, because I did athletics, so just
17.
Yes.
Maidry feels
I'm very lucky I was
extremely
not at one.
uncomfortable and
Yes.
at several points is dangling, but she's
Sounds about right.
so light,
Sounds about
so she's able to
So it's
lift
okay.
herself up on the other side.
Make it work.
And Kajal alone
I
Come on,
do
Kajal.
bow and arrow. Strong
is
arms.
standing across on the other side.
please.
Come on, buddy.
tosses
A dwarf.
I can toss myself. 13.
13.
It's just
So,
gonna take you a while.
He begins to come across, and the rope breaks, and he falls, and he swings,
Okay, I'm going to definitely
Shit.
make sure the rope is not.
and he takes 6 points damage, crashing
What
into
about
the
you,
wall.
Lola?
Can I have another
What?
dex check
You
to
made it
retain
across.
your grip on
You
the
already-
rope?
My friend.
I don't need to tell you, there's a lot riding on this.
No shit.
My friend.
I'm gonna get some rope out and get ready
It
to
has
throw
to
it
be
down.
Dex.
I'm gonna get ready.
Me stabilizing the rope does anything because he's going to like make sure the rope is stable as fuck.
Yeah.
It's his grip on the rope is the issue,
Okay.
because he's crashed into the wall.
Because
I think
Anders
Adrian
is ready to.
actually praying right now.
So is Vala.
Oh, I'm so fucked.
No.
7.
7, you fall.
Oh.
Oh my
you
god.
fall, and you're falling through darkness. You fall a great distance,
Oh my
and there's
god.
enormous impact. You hit something you're not actually sure what it is. It could be stone, it could be water from the height
Dead,
you fall.
there's no
You
way.
do not know, and you are knocked unconscious.
Okay.
He's not dead.
I know.
Yeah.
Can you make a Constitution check?
Where is he?
He's not within a.
He's rolling death saves. We're
Is that within 10
we're
feet,
back
is
in
he?
Düthara.
Back before
Once,
Holy crap,
once a
man.
session.
This is not the way he's supposed to do
Yeah, no, this is.
Did you roll?
it. Whoa.
12. Okay, I'm going to reveal a little bit later what happens to Kajal.
Oh.
which is
After
safe
all
there.
that,
You
Once a
all
session,
watch
Kajal
with
has rolled.
horror
Yeah.
as Kajal. You actually watch his grip on the rope. You see that the rope breaks, and he falls, and he crashes. And you hear the crash of his armor and his
There's
body,
no armor.
and or his
The
body,
shield, maybe.
his shield,
or-
and his metal and his belts crashing against the side of the stone, and then you hear him reaching for the rope, and his hand gives away. And you just glance down and you see Kajal falling into the darkness like this.
I
Like
don't know what's
Hans
worse.
Gruber from Nakatomi Plaza.
I don't know what's worse, him potentially dying in the most bitch way ever, or losing the hammer
Yeah.
Oh
to
shit.
falling into a fucking pit.
I
Never
will
know.
tell you, Kajal may not be dead.
Yeah, I don't think
But-
he's dead.
What, the rest
Yeah.
of you are
It's
standing
tradition.
at the precipice and you've heard Kajal cry in his echoing call as
Do
he
we hear him
disappears.
land?
Do you say anything as you fall?
I was gonna say that I would attempt to try to pull the hammer out and hit against the wall, but I don't think he would. So,
Okay.
And I don't think he would even have like a chance to do that, like to try to scrape into the wall.
Right, but speaking as a free action.
I think honestly, how long of a fall is it?
It's 15 seconds.
15 seconds. All right, so that's probably halfway down. I think.
That's a long fall. Very long.
I think he would start to laugh a little,
Okay.
and just, I can't believe this is how I'm gonna die.
As you go unconscious, you realize you have fallen into water. What the rest of you doing?
I'm like hanging over the ledge.
I'm gonna
Yes.
drown if I
and
lose.
shouted his name.
Yes.
We need to scurry down.
Well, not if
And-
you're.
Or just like
I'm not
she
down.
Madry like
I'm
is
not
like
down.
not paying
I'm
attention to what anybody else is doing right
Andre
now.
is gonna start running down the stairs.
But you're gonna
Manjou's
float.
running down the stairs, and
Yeah.
you get to a bottom stair, and you
Your
realize
hammer
there
won't, but you'll
there
float.
is a 10-foot
It'll pull me.
there's actually a
but if you
15-foot
let go.
drop down to the next stair. You're gonna have to jump down.
Okay.
Fall out.
Dex check.
It protects
Alright.
you.
Not acrobatics.
And
Or
yeah,
acrobatics.
It's, yeah,
Okay.
no, it's not gonna kill you.
So 17.
You make it down, and
Okay.
you come down a staircase, and you realize eventually you reach a platform here at the bottom. What do the rest of you do?
Vala's gonna put a hand on each of Madry's shoulder and kind of try pulling her away, and just, if he lives, we will find him.
You can tell that Madry is upset. You're old friends.
You should
I would
just.
think you'd be shaking.
Oh yeah, she's like losing it.
But on the other hand, how many times have we seen Kajal
Mhm.
die?
Yeah.
I know,
Bala
but
wasn't
like
gonna
she
say
still
anything
doesn't have
about
enough
she
faith in
was.
that higher
And
power
one
just
of-
yet.
And one of these times will
Or-
be the last.
Exactly, and
What are
she's
the rest
just
of you doing?
thinking
What is
it's
Isha
bad.
doing?
Isha is trying very hard not to think about the fact that her last friend from the
Mhm.
original journey is gone. And so she's gonna utter a quick prayer to the gods and say, either I'll see you on the other side, Kajal, or on the next mission.
Okay.
Yeah.
Tell me, what is Anders doing?
He, seeing that everyone else seems to they're all taking their own things. Anders pretty much has seen Kajal been revived twice and how tough this son of a bitch is.
Right.
He knows he's going to see him in a couple minutes. So he's just going to walk down, follow Manjue, and basically he's just going to whisper to say, he's like, he's going to be fine, or
So
we're going to have a
you
badass time during Ragnarok.
You walk down. You're down to here.
Are you gonna jump?
Yeah, he's going to jump.
Give me your acrobatics or athletics check.
Athletics, yo. Nat 1.
That one.
Oh
you
my
fall.
god!
You fall. Give me a dex check.
Okay.
Use a different die.
No.
Would
No.
Would you
22. No, 21.
21. You able to catch yourself, but you take. Let's see. That's.
I need healing anyway,
D8 damage.
I need healing.
You take 3 points damage. You stand up and dust yourself off and descend to the bottom of the winding staircase where Majue is standing. What is Isha doing?
Acrobatics check.
So you come down here.
I'll come down, and do an
Give me your
acrobatics
check.
checks. Oh god, I nat one!
Oh my
Oh,
gosh.
so
so
you
did I.
fall too. Give me your dex check.
I rolled 21.
Dex save.
Dex save.
I'm within 10 feet, so you get plus 2
16.
bonus.
16. You
Oh,
fall.
plus 2, so 18.
You take 2 points damage. What is
Yeah.
Madry doing?
So I
I
took
can
a
see
roll.
Madry lingering
See.
there.
Yeah.
I can see Madry lingering there, staring in disbelief.
Well, I was trying to coax her
She's
away.
staring
He
disbelief,
rolled that,
and like
rolled
I
that
said,
one
like
that he rolled.
she
so he
doesn't
dusts
have
himself
faith
up
in
like
that higher
twist
power
my, twist
quite
my ankle.
yet.
I'm okay.
Right.
and still worries
Her
that this would be
character's like
is the last
I
time. But I
She
think
saw Andrew's trip
that she would seriously take a moment, and with no one in
Why is there a
particular,
strange-
she doesn't
strange
really have
love
anybody in
relationship?
particular. Just like
Yeah, where is this on her arc of spiritual development?
right,
If you ever
If-
needed
if-
the concept of
He doesn't
faith,
know.
this
right.
is
This
it.
is it, and if it doesn't work out, it's gonna ruin it. What just
She is-
began. So
Does
she
she
sends out.
eventually come down?
Yeah,
does
she
not.
yeah she comes down.
Vala
And
doesn't
she's
go
gonna have
down until Madry's ready to keep moving.
Yeah, so she
She's
sends up a
character.
little
Come
like
on, child.
you
Not
better
until she's
you better be
ready.
able
She's
to
not
find me.
actually
You
a
better be
child.
alive.
Give me your acrobatics check at the bottom of the stair.
Okay, she's sitting on her hub. She's
Or
learned to walk.
Dex.
Acrobatics
Yeah,
is dex.
it's Dex. My bad. 18.
18.
Not
So
bad.
you were able to make it down. You scale down. You're a good halfling sense, and Vala as well.
And can roll athletics, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
17.
17. Good. Make it down without any trouble. And you notice that Majue and Anders and Isha are entering a very, very large chamber filled
Okay.
with
So-
pillars.
Anders, before we get like really deep into the room, he's gonna do the whole like military hold sign.
Yes.
Yeah,
Like,
And
Isha
basically
needs to
say-
heal herself first of all, or take a. What's
And
the rule for second win?
It's a fighter thing.
Oh, okay.
Anders is gonna say before we get
Wrong
in, everyone get in there.
Yeah.
Is
I wish.
Yeah.
I'm
Star
sure all
Wars
of
one
you
I have it.
have been in enough dungeons to know big rooms like this mean big fights. We should all heal
Yes.
This
Be
is the boss
prepared.
battle.
because
So,
he's gonna point at the book he sees and be like, "I heard Book of Damned earlier."
Alright.
So you actually,
I have a healing kit.
the first thing you notice when you walk into this room is the strong sense of disorientation. And I need everybody to make a Constitution or Intelligence save.
The orb of confusion.
So there's 2 paladins in the party. Since this is a saving throw, add what's your charisma modifier?
My charisma modifier is
Yeah.
4.
So add 6 to your roll because there's 2 paladins, 2 auras of protection running around.
That's awesome.
18.
18.
I'm going
Thanks,
to
what do we
roll,
add?
but I
Oh,
also
add
want to use
your
stillness of
14.
mind.
Save
Yeah,
plus 6.
Plus 6.
Actually, no, 14
Ooh.
What
plus.
did you say? Constitution.
Oh, I have
what?
Constitution.
No, wait.
19.
19.
It's
So-
5, but
I
I,
forgot I
have
have
stillness
modifiers.
of mind.
I have an unnatural 20.
So you actually notice that the room itself is a disorienting effect. And you actually feel you have to concentrate with your eyes and your equilibrium on the sort of here and now of the room. And while you're doing this, you're having to force back some sort of magical effect that is impeding your memory and your sense of continuity. You're in a strange zone you've never been in before, and you even wonder about its relationship to space-time. This room is 100 feet by, 60 feet, and you notice there are 8 pillars, 4 on each side. There's some sort of dais at the end with these sort of colored orbs filling the room with this kind of eerie, eldritch, kind of shimmering, spectral, phantasmal glow. But the thing you are amazed by is that there is some sort of book stand in the center of the room with a book, but on top of that are bookshelves up and down the sides of the room.
Should we step back?
Yes.
So step back, heal,
Remember the
then
part
step
where
back.
we're going to
Yeah.
heal?
Yeah.
Step back.
Or step back for a bit.
We see how
Okay.
fucked this room
So
is.
you're able to say there's not much to go. There's a
Yeah.
small little
Or-
platform.
well,
some of us might
sit on the
feel-
step.
Yeah, we want to heal.
I think she
Meta,
needs to sit.
meta,
Meta.
cajole, has washed up in the river by the tower,
Nice.
No.
and I need you to do a death save.
Oh, fuck.
Not dead yet.
Yeah.
But he's in the. Remember, this river is purifying.
Yeah.
This
It
is
is.
true.
It's a holy river.
So
Oh, right. Some sort of advantage.
Made it.
So give me your heals.
alright, so
Yes.
so let's.
I can heal others, but not myself. So
Heal me. Please
Okay.
heal me.
Alright, so for you, it is that you can restore 1d6 plus 4 points.
Okay.
Is that the healer's kit?
Plus additional plus additional hit points equal to your.
So let me get this right. So
Yeah,
Manjue is
healer
healing
kit.
Isha.
Yes.
Okay. And what's the roll? What's the dice?
It's 1d6 plus 4.
I rolled 6, so it's 10, and then plus what?
Plus 4.
No. You
Plus
said
additional hit points equal to your maximum number of hit dice.
8.
plus.
So
Seven.
18 points.
Yeah, 18 points.
It's
That's good.
You're not level 8, are you?
So it's 7.
It's 7.
My hit dice.
No,
Yeah,
max
so
Yeah,
number.
max.
What's your
yeah,
level?
hit dice are
hit
7.
dice. And it's how many of them.
Oh.
Yeah, you only have hit dice per level, so you have 7.
D8 is what kind
Okay.
of
We're
Right,
not
die.
a
my
tactical
hit dice.
time,
Okay,
but
17.
you are. So if you want to do your next step
Oh,
save,
sure.
you can do it.
So you're good now, for the most part?
I'll be fine.
Okay.
I mean, I have to heal.
I'm meta. I'm down 19.
Yeah.
I'm gonna take
Okay.
time.
I'm
can
down
heal
You're
you
called.
too.
Actually,
Not right
I
now, my
also-
friend.
I
Not
am
that we haven't been here
like
before.
Oh, yeah.
You're a healer, so you
I'm
can
not
do
healed.
something
Kajal,
more
clearly.
powerful.
But do the dice.
Yeah. Do you need to be healed?
I'm at.
Okay.
I'm
Yes,
down 19.
He's down 19.
Yeah, I will.
That's
27 hit points. I would maybe
Okay.
appreciate a little minor heal.
Okay.
I will.
I can use my healer's
Or you know
kit.
what?
That's what you just used on her, right? Was it
Okay.
healer's
Yeah.
kit?
Yeah.
Healer's
You,
kit
you
might be
notice
more
there is a
effective.
rumbling
Yeah.
Okay, so
we're trying.
around
Yeah,
you.
we're doing this all probably
Quick.
relatively
Yes, it's
simultaneously.
all
Yeah.
simultaneous.
So
The
it's only
rumbling
reason taking
is
long.
getting louder.
So what is that? That's
And all of a sudden there is the crashing sound of stone and a sort of a flourish and plume of dust, and this entire staircase
Of
has
course.
collapsed.
Nice.
of course.
into
Yeah.
No way back.
this-
Only
There's
forward.
no way back. So
Only
we
forward.
we all knew that, right?
Wait,
wanna
wait, what is it?
level
How does the kids
one
work
or level
again?
two?
1d6 plus 4.
What's level 1 do?
And plus
Oh wait, no, the
up
healer's
to the
kit doesn't
maximum
heal.
number of your hit dice.
It stabilizes.
I made another one.
Yeah, heal it. You need magic to heal.
Okay.
You made
So-
your 2 up now?
2 and 1.
And then
I have.
I guess level 2 if you can afford the spell.
Yeah.
so I did the
So-
1d6 plus
At
4.
the edge of
Plus-
Kajal's
I have
consciousness,
your
one. I
you
can
hear
always
screams.
cast
I can do
So
level
plus
1
that.
spells
Ah,
too. Like
nice,
I can
okay.
help a little bit, but I want to save
Cool.
it for
Oh,
points.
that's
Yeah, I have 4
Alright,
level
so-
1 spells left, and I have 2 level 2 spells left, and
All right,
2.
so
Did you heal her
Okay,
or?
do
You did.
I have cure wounds.
She just.
Then give me a level 2.
Okay.
You don't
A
have.
healer's,
yeah, I'll
healer's kit
Going
doesn't
down
heal
to
it.
one.
Just
Wanna
equals.
roll?
What is it?
I think it's 1d.
What are you reading from?
It still restores points.
What
just so you
page are
guys
you
know,
on?
Kajal needs to make his next save.
167.
Let's wait for
son
us
of
to
a
be
bitch.
done healing.
Yeah,
I don't think any of us want to miss this
Isn't
one.
this-
later.
everyone's
You can
trying to
spend
stay
one
alive
use
here.
of
Exactly.
healer's
It's like
kit
nice
to
duality of
tend
these
to
things.
your-
It's
Oh,
gonna be
okay.
1d8. Well, 2d8
Like
for
the
you
second
plus,
bullet point.
plus
2d8.
6.
2d8. 10. 16. I get 16.
Oh,
Or
are
you,
these?
That's
or
pretty
you
good.
can stabilize a dying creature. But
Oh, I think
I'm
these
using the
are
second one.
feats though.
So yeah, 2d8 plus 6.
If you don't
Oh, no.
have it,
Oh,
I
okay.
don't see what you're looking
You're
at.
crushing
page
marble.
167 on the left hand side, left
Oh,
healer.
Oh, okay. I'm at 71. I'm good now.
But
Thank
don't
you.
think I
You
have-
don't have
I don't-
healer kit.
I am.
I have
at
a healer
43,
kit, but I don't
so
think I
I'm
have
only
this.
11 points down, so I'll be fine.
That is
I'm
what a
only
healer
3 points
kit
down.
is.
I'm
You
gonna be
use
10.
it. It's
I
just
have to
like
take
the
it.
healer.
Oh,
It's
know,
you
do.
Paul and I
use.
do
these
all
are
things.
feats though. I don't have the
It is
feat.
a
At
feat,
least
but
we
you
have
don't
3
need the
healers.
feat if you have a healer kit. It
Like,
uses
we're down
the
to
same
the-
laws.
we're gonna
from
die.
Can,
what I
can
understand.
everybody make a wisdom check?
I've used it like a million
Okay.
times.
Okay, then sure. Whatever the rules were that she
Okay,
said.
and I
know
rolled
nothing.
4,
I'm
so-
Jon Snow.
It's wisdom.
Yep.
Wisdom.
An unnatural 20.
8.
Okay.
I'm still very
Marjorie,
upset.
So
Wisdom?
15.
15,
7.
7,
Unnatural 20.
and
So
then
you
20.
check or
I
guess.
saving
Are
throw?
you healing?
A wisdom
I already did.
saving
Okay.
throw.
How many
Oh,
points
saving
do
throw.
you-
Oh,
he's
So everyone had
Yeah,
6
16.
against you. So
Oh, wait.
great.
I'm gonna use
Because it's
the
saving-
rest
Yeah,
of the last
actually,
of my
no,
land
it's a check.
points.
To
It's a
check?
check?
This bonus
Okay.
doesn't apply.
So
it's
straight check.
Okay.
So what I said. I know
So
nothing.
just instead
7.
of having
Seven.
unlimited,
If it's a check,
so
7.
because
If it's a saving throw, that number's
it's
much
not
higher.
your feat,
All right.
you have 3 healer kits. So you used 1, you have 2.
Okay.
I think if you
When
sit,
you
if
do
it
your
says
save, you do it at +1.
Oh.
or
I would
have
have
3
expected
healer
more
kits, I don't
goodwill
know
from
if
your
you do.
friends. But
Ah,
I would have expected, but they're a little preoccupied right now. But
Yeah.
whenever you want to do it, you don't need to do it now.
Okay.
Is everybody healed up?
Yeah.
I'm at, I'm much higher now.
I'm at 64. of 70.
You notice the dust is clearing from this collapsed
Pedro, do you
staircase.
still need
Yeah.
healing? Jen, do you still need healing?
No, I'm good. I'm good. I'm good. I'm
Okay.
good.
Does anyone need it? Because I do have spells too.
Okay, so
No, we're good.
yours,
Later.
though, just to clarify, Gina, yours, it says you have a healer kit, right? Okay. Glenn, just to make sure I'm not telling Gina the wrong thing. Healer kit, it's the same rule as the healer feat, right? It's just that you use, each time you use it, you've used up 1, and then it's not like you have unlimited uses of this thing.
Oh, the healer's kit.
Right.
That's right.
Okay.
So how many healer's kits do you have?
1.
Okay, so you used your only healer kit
Yep.
with those laws on from page 167.
Okay. Okay.
I feel like
He's
this
gonna-
is the
do I
first
wanna
time in
take
the
that roll?
entire
I don't
know.
course of my
Challenge.
D&D history that I've actually
You don't want
taught
me.
somebody.
As you re-enter the room,
Yeah,
you
we
notice
re-enter.
there is a sort of low droning.
I'm going to ask
All
one
right.
quick question before we go in. Who thinks they're going to be fighting on the front lines?
Oh, Mondre is. She's kind of stoked at this point because of the elements.
Get your
it's
scrolls
started to-
out.
Get my scrolls.
Get your
Your
little
scrolls
index
out.
cards.
Mine is
So you want to fight
less
on the front
cards.
lines.
I'm always.
Yes,
I'm
I
always.
I know
better
you're
than that.
usually in the back.
Mhm.
Naturally.
Yes.
So will I.
Big, tall, beautiful woman.
I'm gonna cast aid before we walk in on Mondre, myself,
Okay.
and Vala. Everyone gets, those 3 get 5 points back.
Alright. I
5
need to be
points,
prepared
temporary hit
and
points, right?
have
Oh,
like
what?
my.
10 hit points.
10
Yeah.
hit points?
What am I gonna use?
Temporary hit points. I'm doing 8.
Excellent.
That's why I was like, who's fighting on the front lines? Because I only can do 3
I
people.
always have
Bill.
to think
I swear to God.
Much appreciated.
I swear
So
to
I know
God.
how to
Is
set
that
this.
aid?
Yeah, it's 8.
I need rounds.
Okay. I also
She's
have
gonna-
that, so if we
She
need it
will
later.
never believe in
Yeah,
a God
that's
ever
our-
again.
Oh, yeah.
It's our
He-
emergency
he's
spell.
conscious
Our
that he failed
emergency
his
spell.
spell
Alright,
check.
how many
Right.
points
Yeah.
do I have?
Alright, so now we're in the room.
Losing.
So you
Alright,
come
so
into
I've
the
got-
room. The room
I'm
is
waiting
a
for the
low
door
kind
to
of
be
drone,
open. Yeah.
and you almost think you don't know if it's an optical illusion or something wrong with your senses, but you
Mhm.
feel almost like that there's a shimmering kind of quality. There's some sort of derangement of the senses going on. There's some sort of spectral effect in the nature of reality itself. You've never felt like this. You're very confused.
Weird.
Fair enough.
Fair enough.
Don't like.
Don't like
Should I
do nothing.
cast to see if there are any traps ahead of us? Would it be worth trying?
This is supposed to be the sealed away vault. Probably.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would say
Okay.
that would be wise.
Alright.
So just in case there's any last minute traps from either side of this conflict.
Okay, so I'm going to cast find traps if I don't know how it works because I never use these things. Okay, so it's at 2nd level. I sense the presence of any trap within range that is within line of sight.
So this is just reaching out with your halfling ranger's senses.
Yes.
Right. This environment is so peculiar. You can get no read on this.
Okay.
If you were in the woods, you might have a chance.
Right.
You are where few people have gone before.
Right. I kind of figured, but I thought it might be worth a shot. I relay this that this room is very weird.
Beguiling.
It's beguiling.
Bonjoy is going to meditate briefly. Try
Take
and
too long.
no, just a very.
Who's
short
brave enough to
meditation.
touch the book? If not, I'll do it myself. Well, maybe not touch the book, but
Go near
actually,
the
I'm gonna do before I actually do anything too fucking stupid.
thing. Right.
I'm gonna do just a big time perception. I can't use divine sense, but I would probably encourage Vala to do that
Yeah.
before I walk forward at all and take in the sights and sounds of this room. And with a 14, what do I perceive?
So you feel a derangement of the senses. The sounds are not echoing right in the room. You feel a ringing in your ears. You feel a rumble and a drone in the background. your sort of visual field is slightly off. Things aren't moving quite the right way. Your perspective is strange. Something that should move a little bit with your perspective is moving too much. Something that should be only moving a little, it's not moving at all. Your sensations, the vibrations are coming through your boot soles, but you know the floor is not moving. Your skin feels like it's crawling.
Okay. I'm going to turn to Sif.
Even your sense of smell is.
He's basically going to say a very quick word to Sif to get maybe a response, and he's basically just going to say, "Please guide my sword."
What are you doing?
51 for Sif to help me guide my goddamn sword somewhere.
So
Somewhere.
Nudge me in the right direction, please.
I know.
I
know.
You get no sense that
That was so
you're
funny.
even under the
Praying
eye.
to his goddess, asking for that.
I still got challenge with whatever divine energy he has somewhere. Then he's just going to take a few steps gingerly towards the book, but he's not going to get too close to it. Until Vala tells him what she sensing.
Yeah, Vala's using divine sense.
Because she has some left.
Right, so you get the distinct impression that this is a zone that has been reconquered by the elder gods, and that the younger gods have no domain here.
Wonderful.
You've never been in a space like this, and granted, it's not a large space, but there's nowhere on Earth where any of you have had this sensibility before.
The elder gods have taken this place. I doubt if ours can see us here.
Alright, so seeing that, he's going to draw a Requiem and just see if the blue glows anywhere.
It's a lightsaber.
So he's done this before then.
It is filling the room,
So he's done this before.
and then it goes dark.
Oh.
Did it go? So he's good before it gone completely dark. Did it glow any bright, like very very bright before doing so?
You
when
unsheathed
he's
it.
pointing it.
You unsheathed it, and it went
And then,
and the orichalcum is burnt out.
oh, fuck.
Oh my god.
Vala has her sword and shield out.
Demetrius probably has her sword out.
Can I tell you that one thing, guys? That never happened before.
Great.
Happens to
Do you
everyone.
want to make you do this?
I'm waiting for the villain reveal.
All right,
Because I have like a narrative thing if he dies that
Okay.
I want to say.
I hope that's not the last weird
all
joke
right.
you say.
What did you say?
I hope that's not the last weird joke you say.
Madri is
That's
mentally,
the sweetest thing you've ever said to me.
Madri is,
Happens once in a while.
is kind of mentally marking this in the back of her mind. Unfortunately, she cannot pull out the pen and pencil right now.
Uh,
Are you going towards it anymore?
Would destroying the book be a bad thing, considering what we want to do?
I think
Yes.
yes.
We need to erase the names. We can't
Then I
Yeah.
have.
get
Then
rid
I,
of the whole book.
then I have no ideas.
Someone had to be control without control.
Right.
Vala
Destroy it? No? Oh, no.
Well,
I've done all I can do.
Here's done.
My career is done. See y'all on the other side.
Vala's going to slowly approach the book
Okay.
very slowly.
Okay.
Is it
It's
easier
very
for me
large.
to- Yeah.
It's 3 feet by 2 feet.
Oh shit!
Wow.
And you can
It's
actually
like
see.
tall.
You
It could
can,
crush you.
you.
Could crush
you
me.
can see that it's actually bound in a pink hide.
Human skin.
Human
It is indeed
skin.
human skin.
Human skin.
Nice. Love it.
This
Lovely.
is so
My-
antithetical to everything Vala
This is-
represents
this is-
and
this-
believes
this
in
is
with her oath of the
disgusting.
ancients.
Love this.
What?
My backup character would love
It's
this.
disgusting to a paladin. Even though he's a war paladin, he's still
That's-
disgusting.
that's-
Vala's
fucked up.
entire thing is life, loving
Yeah.
life, preserving life, serving life. This is
Bad.
There is a crack
making
of
her
thunder
sick to
in
her
the
stomach.
room.
It's
And
cajole?
There's a peal of laughter
Of
that
course.
splits it.
They always laugh at
It's
us.
this hissing but also oozing voice. It's multi-octave. It sounds bizarre. You hear this,
Polyphonic.
and you hear a creak
Yeah.
as the book opens.
Oh, yeah.
And
Is it
you're
the book?
staring
Is he the book?
at the first page,
Uh-huh.
and you see, with Vala written in Orgic, but Isha sees written in Sumeric, and Manjue sees written in Kianic, and Madri sees it written in the dialect of the Halflings. And it says, The Book of the Damned, Volume 2436.
God.
Someone's been busy.
Someone
They had
needs
a
an editor
They've had a long time to sit here and write down names.
And there's a sound of
Oh.
pealing laughter.
He has a
And
bag
then,
down
and
there.
all of a sudden, there's a shimmering light appears on the dais, and a slowly sort of inchoate energy comes into being, and you see a creature, probably 12, 15 feet high. It almost looks serpentine blue, but it has a fish's tail waving behind it, and yet it has insect-like wings. It has a sort of six-eyed face with a gaping mouth. It has two arms, but at the end of each arm is a dozen tentacles, and it's at the center of the dais.
Ew!
It's
Oh, we're
simply,
No!
it's
You're
simply,
fucked.
oh, that is dope. It stands there
We are so
glowering
fucked.
at you.
I've seen it.
And why you feel like you're fucked?
And there's
Yes.
a peal of laughter, this oozing, hissing voice, and it utters some language you've never heard. Rastoff after the Hundalon Gala. And you have no idea what it means.
Morgan goes, hey, you're my cousin.
I didn't see you at the last family reunion.
How you
I'm
do
so
it?
much more handsome than
Son of a
you.
bitch.
So much more handsome than
Oh, are you gonna do this?
I just
Yeah.
like to
You're gonna do
imagine
this?
him
Wait,
like
wait,
in
wait.
Stardust. Like,
Yeah. Wait,
2 years.
2 years.
He's died almost 3 times.
Can't take this.
I can safely say I have never had a character die as many times. World record.
He's dead.
Nope. Plus
Wait.
1.
He's at a 9 or a 6.
It was a 9.
Holy fuck.
Plus
with
1.
Exactly a 10. From the fucking prayers!
I think it was Madry that had the plus. Madry saved your life.
Oh my god.
You say more than 2 because I thought it was a 6.
Yes.
That's
Yes.
awesome.
Teamwork.
You're
Keep
welcome.
our friend alive.
You're
Kajal,
welcome. I can read.
Thank you. He's
Kajal.
trying. He's only been able to read for
Where's
a
Kajal's
year.
mini? Where's Kajal?
You have I don't
Where's Kajal? Is he buried under the rubble?
I think he's
Yeah.
in the
I
rubble.
don't even know.
Oh, look,
Oh,
Like, already, literally, he's like, come on.
Ooh.
I already.
I think he must have picked
It's
him up.
amazing.
I think he was lost in the rubble. Did he fall? I
I
don't
thought
see
you
him on
grabbed
the
him
ground.
because he.
Did I grab him?
I thought you
wouldn't have.
did.
Oh, yes, I did grab
Yeah,
him. There he is.
that's
He washes up, and he is by the river, and he opens his eyes,
Down by the river.
and what he actually sees is fleeing townspeople.
Oh no.
Oh, you're
running
fighting
away.
me on your
Good
own.
job.
I might have
And
more
one on
fat
one.
too.
And there are white elder worms coming
Oh,
down
those
the
Ew.
towers.
Oh my
White
god.
elder worms infesting down the
Where's
tower.
Morgan when you need him?
I know.
Yeah.
Just blast him.
Well,
Oh,
'cause
fire.
That's his first.
There are dozens.
Hey.
Oh,
my
dozens?
elder-
Oh, I'm probably
Because
gonna
they've been
die.
reminded of the taste of
There,
human
there are
flesh.
dozens of elder worms, and they're crawling up down the so-called unscalable
Right.
from Meta, which you do not know,
We do not
is
know.
a dimensional globe gate
Nice.
in the top of the tower.
Cool.
We as
So
players,
Kajal is in tactical time,
Okay.
and actually you might as well be in tactical time too.
No, I'm going to roll
Roll
for
for
initiative.
it.
And then I'm
Yeah.
going
Going
to...
like around or something.
Woo!
We're rolling.
Oh, we're all rolling.
No.
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 Now I'm not saying you're going
Seven.
into tactical time. I just want to know the initiative order.
Alright,
Okay.
mine will be 18.
Madry is 12.
I also rolled a 12, like my daughter.
I'm
I
going
wish
to
we rolled
use the restroom
better.
before I die. I
It's
mean,
you.
on this fight.
Who also rolled a 12?
That's 12.
Bala.
Hold on.
Isha rolled a 7.
10. Oh, shit. Fuck.
What did Isha roll?
7.
God damn
What
it.
did Marjorie roll?
10.
Oh, okay. 12, 15.
Oh my god.
Oh.
Oh
Yeah.
man.
You know it's 12:15,
I had
right?
physical therapy
Kajal,
at
could
9
you roll
a.m.
initiative? And you were,
Am I? What health am I?
I mean, we're not.
you are at. That's a good question
Sure,
because I want you to factor in
Yeah.
I don't know.
your
This
your
would take forever.
damage from the current and also
Sorry,
your
really,
your
like,
damage.
we should be
We did. I'm sorry. I was like extra late too.
Oh, it's like this.
I'm gonna say
You know, when-
I'm going to say it's 2d12 damage.
Yeah, it is.
So I'm gonna roll that.
No,
for you.
Yeah.
What were you down to?
we're in agreement.
I haven't taken much. I was
can't
like
believe-
75.
Can you have a few more close calls?
You-
Maybe a few more.
You,
Alright,
no. See, I mean, like, if it really was my 1 point, she doesn't know this.
Yeah.
But if we ever see each other alive again,
Yeah.
this I think should be another
I'm at
moment of
74.
You
spiritual
take 15
awakening.
points damage.
Okay.
Take
So
15
is this
points.
your third near-death
Yeah.
experience?
This is literally third
time you
on
die.
the brink.
Yeah.
All right.
Well, no, actually, it was.
Because when
It's
you
probably
actually
more on the
fourth
brink than
more-
that. He has had 2 physical
Actual
deaths.
deaths.
Right.
She revived him
You
once,
didn't die here.
and then I didn't die.
This
die.
was just a
Right.
close
He
call.
said I couldn't even count his brink deaths.
Yeah.
He has
Yeah.
physically
We
died
can't
twice.
count how many times
He's been here
had to roll
before.
death.
Yeah.
This is the third or fourth.
Yeah, I mean,
time.
he had to roll death saves like multiple times in one fight
One-
because
yes.
he kept getting revived
Right.
and
And
then
then
killed
going down.
Yeah.
I know.
Yeah, Isha was not happy.
with that was that with the Ifrit? The
Yeah.
fire
Yes,
creatures and stuff?
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
So as you're standing there, and there's this sort of lugubrious booming laughter from this ungodly creature, and by the way, has a feat called otherworldly gaze. Can everybody please make a wisdom save? Because you're staring
No.
at
That's
it.
6.
Oh,
Okay,
God.
so-
That's 6.
What's up?
That's 6 in addition to everything else.
9.
Oh,
Wait,
Am
at 20.
I adding
20
6 too?
major.
Yeah,
Everyone
Okay.
is.
Because you're all within 10 feet. This is the only
Then,
person who doesn't do that would be Kajal, who's not in the room in the first place.
I get a 16 then.
15.
Okay.
So I had 11 to this roll. 16.
Wait, do we add each other's?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, both.
We're
Both
both
stacked. If a party of 5 paladins walked into a room,
They
You
have
couldn't fail
all
to
of
say.
those.
You couldn't
Wait,
fail to
Wait, you have something too?
Yeah.
they're
You want a
adding-
six
you added
that
to
you're
the-
adding.
That's-
So
that
we
is
just
what
we
it is.
only add
You
each
basi-
other's, right? We don't each add 6.
No,
No,
you
we're-
get 4.
we're
and he
protected
gets
by
2,
our own
so
god.
it's 6.
We're basically protected
It's
by a
6
tag
total.
team of Sif and Freya.
Right. So
Okay.
what was your wisdom check?
16.
16. Yours.
15?
15. Yours.
16.
16.
Not great
15.
15.
At 20.
Yours a nat 20. It's still not enough.
I figured it was me.
So you take damage from the fearsome gaze of the beast, and in fact, you all take 6 points.
Even major?
Even me?
No,
from
you don't. You did nat
gaze.
20. You made your save.
Okay, there goes
Because
my
you-
temporary hit
Yeah.
points.
You are startled
Yeah,
by
the
the
10 points.
visage of this creature,
But hey, that's good.
and this
That's the point
booming,
of 10 points.
this booming
Definitely.
laughter. This booming laughter breaks out, and it raises its multi-tentacled hand like this,
Yes.
and it gestures over, and a book flies off the shelf, and you actually hear the wet sound of the
Nice.
cover getting lodged amongst the slimy tentacles, and it opens it and it holds it up, and you can see it at the top of the page. It says, "Red Banner, Kajal Thunderfist, Isha Almasi, Madri Green Arrow, Manjue," and it's showing your names. And the other part of the book, it says, "The Book of the Damned, Volume 1034," and it closes the book, and it clenches its fist, and you see this bulge go down the arm, and the volume goes into its body. And then you hear this voice that says, "Is that really necessary, my lord?" And from behind the dais, Ulova steps out.
What?
It says,
Bitch.
"This is a great feat, my lord, to destroy the city of Balka and entrap the famed Red Banner in one fell swoop. Who could have expected this? And I think, if I'm not mistaken, our friend Kajal is already missing and perhaps dead. Well done. What do you do now, my lord?" "I do this." And its other tentacle hand raises, and the Red Banner badge flies out of Anders' kit and out of Isha's.
I don't have Anders.
Yeah,
Oh,
it's-
yeah.
I don't
you
have one. I'm not
You
Red
don't have
Banner.
one.
I've never
Out
been.
of Isha's kit, out of Manjue's kit, out of Madri's kit, and they float through the air, and it squeezes its tentacles, and they pulverize into dust.
I guess we're gonna have to come up with a new
Name.
or new damages.
Or new character.
Yeah.
We're gonna have to survive this first.
While you're at a major, this is gonna be a big battle.
Yeah,
Yep.
we should.
Yeah,
we
we're
should-
not doing
we
this
should-
We're
today.
gonna have to.
Yeah, because it's almost
You wanna
12. It's like
hold?
12:15.
It's 12.
Yeah.
Eh,
Wanna hold?
yeah.
Yeah.
Alright.